Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Inside of 90 seconds. Up top, Mask from downtown. Look at Hoiberg, the smallest man on the floor. Big no. Rebound to Sanford. Final 8 seconds. Fred Hoiberg's going to let him play it out. Frager! 2.2 to go. Vanderbilt, no timeouts. Half court heave. Oh! Tanner in and out. And Nebraska is on to the Sweet 16.
How does this feel to send Nebraska to the first ever Sweet 16?
It's unbelievable. Definitely best birthday yet. But, I mean, look at this crowd. Everyone is still here. They're going to be here for a while. Unbelievable, the support we have. And doing it for them is what makes this so special.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. What's up, DB?
How are we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yeah.
Hanging in there?
Yeah, your boy's back is broke, but I'm good.
What happened to your back?
Yeah, so I was part of that LaGuardia Mafia yesterday.
Okay.
With about 10,000 people in the airport with minimal TSA.
That doesn't sound ideal.
Yeah, so of all the things that I can do physically at my age that I feel pretty good about, apparently standing isn't one of them.
For that amount of time, at least?
No, you know what I have to learn to be a 2-strap or a 2-shoulder backpack guy.
That's what I was telling you, man.
So I'm this guy and this guy.
No, you got it.
And I felt like I was balanced, but no.
So I don't think it's the balance of like your body. It's the balance on your shoulders.
Yeah. So it's not. It's
tough out there.
Yeah. I mean, the flight was 2:55 from West Point or LaGuardia, because West Point's an hour from from
it's
the
outside
city.
the city. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're like in this little tucked nestled place on Army's base, which shout out to them. So you have to go through clearance, which was much better than the airport.
Extensive though, I imagine.
Yeah, but so I'm good for 30 days. I may shoot back up there.
Oh, you get like a clearance window?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did you guys set it up? Like, does somebody know somebody up there? Or like, what happened?
So one of
this
our
was the West Side staff going up to West Point, by the way.
Yeah, and it was just 4 of us.
Yeah.
So one of the coaches, the assistant strength trainer, is one of our coach's brothers.
Oh, at Army?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, they're trained, like their weight room holds 160 players.
Yeah.
Their facilities are on par with Nebraska's.
Yeah.
Like they don't have like the bells and whistles of the, of like the walkthrough room and some of the little nuances, but the quality of the facilities and the size is, I mean, the best secret they've got is they have an unlimited budget, pretty much.
Yeah.
I joked, and it's not funny. Like I had to really tap down my sense of humor because it's a lot of business. But I was like, yeah, how about, just the commingling of the defense spending and the budget?
I was gonna say it's all part of the defense budget, man. You just slice off a little piece.
Yeah, that didn't crack many smiles, though. Guy said, yeah, we got pretty good accountants here.
Listen, I'm not saying they're wasting it. I'm just saying it's easier to be a good accountant when you're dealing with money.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was cool little, it was giving me like, I don't know, maybe I was like in St. Paul.
Oh, okay.
Kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Because it's Highland Falls and then West Point's kind of its own thing. But, my hotel was like one level. It's a little Holiday Inn suites. It was very, very old.
Yeah.
Except for Army's football facility, which was, I'd like to think I'm tough, like in a lot of things. It's 7:00 on a Saturday morning. It's 34 degrees. It's raining, which it seems to be dark and dreary. All those Army games, that's just seems to be the weather.
Just what it's like up there.
They're like out in these little shorts and these matching outfits, like doing drills. Rifles and bags and relays.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, God, these guys got to train for combat 12 hours out of the day. They get them for 4. You sleep for 6. You probably eat a culmination of 2, maybe. Yeah, it's a full day, but had some good food. It was good. Watched a ton of hoops. Saturday night was incredible because there's only like 7 of us in the hotel. And it was
like the entire hotel.
Yeah. So my girl Stella, she was from Jamaica, older lady. I know I was getting on her nerves. She finally put us out because it was me, Queen, Coach Lamanji, Coach Anderson, and this couple that was at a wedding. They're from New York, but they moved to Charlotte, and they were just living their best life.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like that New York, that act. She's like my coffee, and just loud. And Queen's never met a stranger, so of course they were talking hubby, wife, like just is nonsense. But it was just wrestling and basketball, and I mean, we were cheering. It was like there's nobody in. I mean, it's just us.
Yeah, you basically
we're
high
fiving, and Queen's a huge wrestling guy too.
Yeah.
So it was. We sat there and just. We watched hoops, a lot of hoops, a lot of wrestling.
Yeah. Well, so Nebraska, I know we'll get to obviously Nebraska in the Sweet 16 and everything like that, but Nebraska finishes 3rd nationally in wrestling.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
the haters got to stop.
Yeah.
We've moved on past that, right? Like there's no real detractors. Just,
I mean, that's where you would have pegged them 1, 2, or 3 basically in the offseason, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, they got to finish in the top 3 considering what their talent is.
Yeah. Yeah, TK, that's a real thing. Like that go Army beat Navy, that they break down like they do. Everything is beat Navy.
Yeah.
Everything is beat Navy. It's you see it all over the campus. I'm like, that's interesting. You know, I was talking, you know, when you're for the same thing, like your military, it's hard to have that much seemingly vitriol.
Yeah, like animosity towards another.
I don't know how they negotiate it because you're on the same team, but no, it's
kind of like that though, even after.
Dude, they have like 60 uniform combinations.
Yeah. For the football team?
Yeah, because they're Nike.
Yeah.
And I was Adidas up, so I felt bad. But their defensive coordinator was he's like, man, you know what you're doing. He's like, can I get on the dry erase board? We're talking about RPOs and defending perimeter run game. And Coach Lamanji is living his best life, talking strength and conditioning. Yeah, it was quick though, because we got there at 4
on Friday.
Yeah. So they're Eastern time. It's an hour and 10 to the hotel. It's raining. Ate at this little. I'm not even gonna get into it, but it was. And then we flew out. It was a 12:50 flight. We got to the airport at 9:30 and sprinted to the gate.
Yeah.
God, it was a nightmare. I can't believe how rude. So that was the big takeaway from the weekend was how socially unaware we are of other people around us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I felt miserable for anybody that had little kids.
Oh yeah.
If you had a little kid, you literally were in the soup line. I'm talking 8, 9, 10K.
Yeah.
It went outside at LaGuardia. Outside the line started. And you had to self-police because there's
nobody there.
So there's some workers that would like walk and tell you stay calm.
Chill.
Dude, this is anarchy.
Yeah.
Kind of like, and I said one of my coaches knows I don't like crowds. So there were times I was getting kind of hot. I was a little nauseous, and I just made it competitive. I just was like, hang in there. You know, I wanted to kick my luggage as opposed to like carrying it. I just wanted to like kick it with me the whole time. But I watched somebody else do that, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to look like that guy. And but I was like, would I have rather been in Bricktown with drunkards or going through TSA's?
You wouldn't have liked Bricktown either.
No, I know. I've been in those kinds of environments.
Yeah.
But for me, so it was cool. And I like all the little closet kind of haters that talk about what could have gone wrong for Nebraska basketball. And I was like, these are guys that have either never played or you just don't like the team.
Yeah.
Because you factor in the negative outcomes, which I hate.
But you never factor in the positive outcomes or the negative outcomes that worked against them.
Correct.
Right? Like,
yeah.
This is my thing with the officiating too. Like, and listen, I thought it was a pretty poorly officiated game overall.
It was very poorly officiated.
But it's like, guys, you have to watch both sides of it. Yeah. They're missing a ton of calls.
I agree.
Just like that was just a bad crew.
Yeah, I mean, listen, should you? I mean, I think it's Rico's doppelganger. It's so Jamarcus Lawrence is like Rico with an actual haircut, like an actual real haircut.
Speaking of Rico, you can't cut your hair for a minute. You know that, right?
And like that, it was clearly a double.
Yeah, it was obviously
clearly a double. Like those that are out in front. But I can't. Like you whatever's in you when you get school. That's just who you are.
Yeah.
Like you're profiting. There's these people that are like profiting off the success of Nebraska basketball just to ride the wave that don't even really like Nebraska basketball. Mm-hmm. And I have to be okay with that, right?
I mean, you don't have
but
to.
You're not fooling me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh, I'm not even going to get it. Just it aggravates me because I've been part of. This is just the sports playing fraternity. So forgive me for a second, but
no, go ahead.
Like I've been a part of teams that weren't supposed to do something, that couldn't get over the hump, that were defying trends, whether it's consecutive bowl game losses or winning on grass or, beating top, number one ranked teams. Like, so I always think, which is why I said, even when the match was like, Nebraska can beat Vandy. Like,
yeah,
it's like they can beat man. This is a Sweet 16 team. Like before it even started. And part of that is, I think Nebraska's pretty good. I do. But also, like when you line it up and play it, the mind is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like if you dial your ass in,
you can convince yourself.
You can convince yourself of anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want other, like, I don't know. I don't know. I have to be careful because I don't want you just to think like I do because I think what I think is right. I think what I'm thinking is right because I've seen it work. Mm-hmm. But it can work differently for other people. So I'm just watching these guys roll, man. And I'm like, all right, now my sights have changed, right? Your mental prep, you're thinking, all right, we got Thursday. We got the Iowegians. It's going to be heated. But listen, it's okay. We should get some of our max out specialist guys that actually teach this for a living. It's okay to think macro.
In what sense?
Listen, you got a chance to your intensity level changes because you're not practicing and conditioning your mind for just this next game, but you have to allow yourself to envision successful outcomes. Mm-hmm. What happens when we win this game? What happens when we win this game? Yeah. What happens when we win this game? So there's this little itty bitty slice of pie that sees big picture. Mm-hmm. And then as you ramp up your prep, you shrink it back down into the micro of just Iowa. Mm. But don't kid yourself that don't think, what are we doing here? Oh my God, we're here. Like, don't do that.
You got to think, hey, there's a world in which we make a Final Four beating two teams we've already beaten before.
We belong.
Yeah. Because you look at Iowa, you look at Illinois in the bottom of the bracket.
You could play Big Ten. You could potentially play Big Ten teams
the whole way out
until championship.
Yeah.
That you beaten.
Yes.
So
you can sit there and be like, I mean, we can make Final Four, beat Iowa and Illinois. We've done that before.
It's not a look ahead. It's the totality of the moment.
Yeah. It's giving yourself a perspective of how you got here.
100%.
Right.
Yes. I'm just. And guys doing it that they were a little maligned. So again, I'm pumped, right? We were down on Mass a little. We're not mad. We're just like, what's wrong?
Yeah, because we hadn't seen him look.
We're down on Frager a little bit. We made fun of Bear K.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I like when those guys.
That was the best. That might have been.
It's a good piece of cheese.
That might have been the best. In terms of his mentality, that might have been the best Frager game he'd played all year.
Yeah, and I think it was probably Bear K's best effort.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I was super impressed by the defensive effort against Dowd in the first round.
Yeah,
I thought he brought something there offensively and just good decision making on the offensive end against in the second round that I just did not against Vandy that we hadn't seen from him in a while, right? You kind of expect the defensive ability at a certain point because that's kind of who he's proven himself to be. But his decision making, like even when to take the threes, like because he'll have open ones semi-regularly, right? Because people understand like, he's not a guy that really wants to shoot it. So he gets opportunities and understanding when to shoot it, understanding, hey, this is the best look we're going to get on this possession probably. Like I thought his decision-making offensively was really good.
He was
and he was active going towards the rim also.
And they know, right? Like you can play. Now you prefer not to, but we talk about this all the time where, imagine if such and such would have played well. They did blank without blank.
Yeah.
But other people, like the butterfly effect,
other people play well.
It's different.
Like
right?
There's probably Iowa people this morning being like, well, imagine if Bennett Sturts doesn't go 0 for 9 from 3.
Yeah. You have to take what comes with playing with him. And I'm not saying he's hard to play with, but sometimes watching that shot selection, you just have to kind of live and die with it.
So I'm glad you brought that up because
why?
I've actually been thinking a lot about the way Iowa played yesterday because that was how they had to play to make this a game, right?
Yep. 100. Yep. 100%.
And that's how they play.
100%.
Right. I said it as soon as the matchup came out. Iowa was going to be able to stick with Florida.
How about Corn Raiders saying it for a week?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as the bracket came out, I was like, I don't like the matchup with Florida, but Iowa can give Florida a game.
I know. You went hard on that.
But because Iowa stylistically can stick with anyone. That's just how they play.
Yep.
I think it's actually really hard to do what Bennett Sturts did yesterday. No one gets an open shot on that team unless he gets it for them.
Yep.
That's 100%. Like whether it's Fulgaris or Banks or Koch or whoever else, none of those guys are getting open looks unless Bennett Sturts does what he does. Secondly, I understand what the shot selection was. I understand the 0 for 9 and the 5 for 16. I also look at it and go, at some point, McCollum probably had a conversation with him to say, hey,
this is what you got to do.
You're going to have to take some bad shots because it's more important for us to get it under 5 seconds before we shoot it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you're going to just have to eat a bad look. And I'm sorry about your field goal percentage, but that's how it's got to be. And not everybody's willing to do that. Like,
I don't know, man.
I'm telling you.
Dude, he's played 40 minutes for his teams for McCollum every place he's been. This wasn't new.
No, I understand.
He was the man at Northwest Missouri State. He was the man at Drake.
I'm not talking about his role with McCollum. I'm talking about other guys being asked to do a similar thing.
Okay. Well,
right. Like there's guys, and you've met these guys.
Talk to me.
Where they would not be cool being like, yeah, they'd be cool having the ball in their hands all the time. They'd be cool getting to shoot whatever shot they want. They would not be cool saying, hey,
living or dying with,
I'm going to have you take a bunch of garbage shots and you're going to have a bad day from the field.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is. And that's the only way we can win this game.
You're assuming that the intentionality or the desire or what he's thinking at the end is going to be garbage. Like,
I think
guys that can do that think that they're not intentionally taking bad shots. They know they're going to be contested. So I think they're envisioning that it's not going to go as poorly as it turned out. They're not conceding shooting over for the sake of getting it up on the glass.
I understand that, but best case scenario with the shots that he's taking or being asked to take in a lot of those situations, it's like 3 for 9 at best.
Yeah.
Like you're not having a good day from the field. I'm not saying it's going to be 0 for 9 every time, but you do have to have some level of like mental fortitude to keep taking those. And you have to understand when you're playing that way, like some of them are going to be garbage looks. You're not conceding that they all are. And he probably ended up with more garbage looks than you would ideally like in that situation. But I do think you have to appreciate the fact that you understand he's been playing for McCollum for all this time, that when he's asked to play this way against a team that they're outmatched against, that he's going to end up having to take some terrible looks.
I could see that. Yeah.
And I don't think everybody's built that way.
No, that's probably, I could see that.
Like, I think there are a lot of guys that will be like, oh, like you've seen it in the NBA.
I know.
Guys just pass the ball off at the end of a shot clock.
Or won't take a shot at the end of the quarter.
Because they're like, oh, and like that's literally the entire game plan with Bennett Sturts was like, hey, if you can't get somebody from an open look, I trust you to try and get at least a shot up. It's probably gonna be a tough day.
I thought you were intimating
No,
hey, this may not go my way.
No.
Yeah.
Just understanding the quality of your look is not going to be good, and you have to be okay with that. And that's something that not everybody's built for.
Yeah, and I felt like, you're kind of watching some of these teams. I kind of have I once had a kid like that would not take a ton of chances if it wasn't going to yield a positive outcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's a lot of kids like that.
Yeah, I had one of those guys in my house.
Oh, okay.
And he had to grow out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you had to start, just let your nuts hang, right? Like, it's, people may talk about you if it doesn't look right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, I get it.
And that's just a thing you have to be okay with.
Yeah.
If you're going to achieve anything at a high level.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I appreciate about big guys that block shots. Like, you're going to get dunked on.
Yeah.
That's just part of that's
part
like
of the deal.
Cost of doing business.
Yeah.
If you want 3 blocks a game as a big man, you're gonna get dunked on a lot.
Yeah, it's funny because I always say I talk to our team all the time, or guys, like when we're training at the gym or whatever, and I always tell people, like, sometimes real toughness is the willingness just to get your ass kicked.
Mm-hmm. Like, just going into it knowing this might not go well.
Yeah, like, and to that point, I will agree. Most people aren't willing to get their ass kicked.
Yeah, and Bennett Sturtz
just not.
had to have gone into that game knowing that was a possibility. Yeah. Like, personally for him. And Dank, you need to be smarter than this. That's not what I'm saying, and you know it. Like, I know we had the thing with the Florida matchup and stuff. It says, so the game plan was to have Sturtz play like ass and everybody else play great. Yeah, that's not how they ever play. That's not what I'm saying, and you know that.
I don't think that either. No,
what I'm saying is Sturtz has to control everything. Yeah. And the chance, and I think he actually played great yesterday.
So the one thing that
he didn't shoot it well, but he played great.
I think the one thing that we underappreciate with him, and he got Nebraska late because I had the stats. I'm within, I don't know, a handful of percents. If you go back to the game in Iowa City where Nebraska had the bad last 3 or 4, 440, and the game in Lincoln, like, their game control is in the 80% versus Iowa to be 1-1.
Yeah. Which is phenomenal.
So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
To be 500.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think we undervalue with a guy, we just say, oh, he plays 40 minutes or he doesn't sit down. He controls the basketball game and the basketball.
Game. Yes.
Like,
nothing happens in those games. Like, that's the most impressive thing. That's why I think he played great yesterday.
Not getting sped up.
Not getting sped up, and he controlled every aspect of that game. You know how many times Iowa had an opportunity to, like, fast break or transition? They're like, nope, burning 20 more seconds is more important than that. Like, that happened. I was almost counting how many times that happened.
Yeah.
They'd get a little run out, guy would pull it back out. They'd get a little opportunity, guy would pull it back out. Like, the ability to do that over and over and over again. And I think Funky said it in the chat. If Bennett Sturtz rolls an ankle, they turn into Minnesota in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that team gets stanky in a hurry.
Yeah.
And so
who else is handling the basketball?
Not a soul. Not a soul. And not only handling the basketball, but literally controlling, like you said, every aspect of that basketball game. Oh. Every game that Iowa plays, Bennett Sturtz controls that thing probably more. He probably has more individual control over a basketball game than any other player in the country. On a night in, night out basis, I don't know how you can argue that. I mean, maybe you have a guy that I haven't thought of.
Well, I don't know. There's a couple in the Big Ten alone with Braden Smith and Jeremy Fears.
Fears is probably a good example. They both have better players around them.
Yeah,
but in terms of control,
which, yeah. To that point, it's hard to do that with better players.
It is. It's actually almost easier if you're like, this guy's very good at that, but can't handle the ball at all.
I'm still doing this anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I used to tell people about.
That's a fair point.
T-phrase leadership.
Sure.
Like, anybody can lead people you're better than.
Yeah. Because they know you're better.
They know you're better, so they default.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's playing with some dudes, and he was still the dude.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand that point. And we saw it rear its ugly. It's like Burries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of guys, and everybody talks about Bradley, and I get it.
Burries is better than Bradley.
Bradley's the tough shot taker and the guy to say
you need a Bradley.
The guy is the guy to say forget it.
Yeah, you need a Bradley.
Man, Burries is the dude.
But Burries is better. Like full stop.
He's incredible.
But that's why I picked them when I win the national championship, because they have both of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I need
and
them,
the crazy front court.
I need them to I need them to understand that they just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing, Arizona. Were you? I want to go back to a couple of. Let's stay with Nebraska here real quick. At what point did you think Nebraska was in trouble?
Basically when Vandy took the lead, because the momentum had been shifting pretty aggressively at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like psychologically a lot of times, if you can just keep them from ever taking the lead, it's easier to bounce back when the momentum's going against you. Sometimes it feels like when they get over the top of that mountain and the score flips, sometimes that feels
so. You know what they usually do? You know what they
deflating.
usually do when they do that, and it didn't happen?
What's that?
They usually turn you over in succession with live ball turnovers.
Which happened a little in the first half, but not much in the second.
That's the thing. If you watch, like, Vandy steals the ball from you. They take the ball from you and then they go the other way. So they go on these little,
like we saw Tanner do with the cookies a couple times, right?
Oh, he's tough, ain't he?
Yeah, the hands are crazy.
They're tough as a tandem.
The hands are crazy.
They're tough as a tandem. So I think for Nebraska's, that's why I like the temperament.
Mm-hmm.
They're just tough-minded.
Yeah.
It would have been easy to wilt.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like the court was tilted.
Yeah, I mean, things were rolling downhill on them in a hurry.
You know, so the temperament was, I mean, he had to make it 5 points in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then once they got it there, I mean, Vandy couldn't score.
No. Like, that was, Nebraska turned it up defensively in a way that I thought was really impressive. And I got to say,
that little junky 1-3-1.
Throwing out the 1-3-1 was incredibly ballsy. I don't know how else to put it. Like, the Stones to just be like, yep, we haven't run this all game. I don't know how many times they ran it all year. And they're like, I'd have to check like a Synergy account or something to see how many times they ran 1-3-1 all year. But it's got to be less than like 8% of their season defensive possessions on the season, right?
As Coach Nate. Yeah, I don't remember it.
I don't at all. I don't either.
I don't remember.
I mean, it's probably any zones at all across the season is probably less than 10%. And that 1-3-1 specifically, I don't remember seeing at any point this year. It may have happened. I don't recall it. So to throw that out in the biggest moment of your season and just be like, hey, let's try this, is just the biggest, like, Pedro Serrano, like, walking down the first baseline.
TK, I'm not going to fault. I have to be careful. I'm not going to fault media for not asking that question, because not everybody that covers basketball or watches sports probably saw it real time.
Oh, the zone.
Yeah. I hate. I mean, I get it. It's easy he's in a better position to say that than me.
Yeah. Kobe says he remembers him running it and it never went well.
Yeah,
it's got to be less than, like.
So it's not a ton, right? It can't be a ton,
no.
Kobe, because I don't know. We'll see what he's probably sleeping.
It's got to be it cannot be very much. And it did absolutely. I agree, TK. Like, it did win.
So Summit, I don't think that was the 1-3-1. I know what you're talking about when Nebraska went zone, but that was like that 2-3 match.
Yeah.
Remember that they played against Purdue when they slowed them down?
I don't think that was a 1-3-1.
That's a good pull.
They also
no, I get it. Listen, TK, I get it.
Sometimes
you're not the average fan, though.
Sometimes when teams will run a 2-3, they'll like stagger the guards. Mm-hmm. So it almost looks like a 1-3-1, and they'll have you pick up like half court. So I thought that's what they were doing against Purdue.
I think you're right. But the zone against Purdue did work.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
The 1-3-1 against Vandy was a clear, true 1-3-1 with the traps and everything else, like you do with the wingman and the top guy.
I know, Ken. That's their job. They're basketball guys, and the media guys that are in there aren't probably listening to what's happening in the deal. Like, that's Weber's job.
Yeah.
Right, like
if Weber can't see that, like he should not work.
Yeah, he shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's different.
I know people had problems with Weber, but that's fine.
So I'm not done.
Yeah.
There were like some minute blurts where it was like kind of hand jobby, but I don't.
Yeah. It was he was pretty. There were some sections where he was pretty homerific for Vanderbilt, but I didn't think it was the whole game. There were just some sections where it was like it's a little over the top, but
yeah. I have to clear my mind. I don't feel good. It just at first gush, but I think I'm listening for it too. So maybe I'm trying to not be swayed.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's, I like can we just be objective here?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could be going the other way.
I will say
I apologize.
The 1-3-1 was absolutely inspired. That's a huge risk to take in that situation. And I do like it though. I like that you say, hey, this isn't going how we want it to anyway. Let's try something else. That's, me. That's kind of my personality.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if I'm going to get a bad result doing the thing I'm good at, the thing I think I'm good at, might as well try something else. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This was my issue with, it's, I think about this way with player rotations and stuff like that a lot too. Hey, I'm not getting what I want to playing these guys. And even if I think they're better, let's just try something else. And so I was really I was blown away by the decision to go 1-3-1. It worked perfectly. And I was really impressed with Nebraska's ability to switch, A, to rebound out of the 1-3-1, because that's usually a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And B,
you'd think you'd have to practice it.
I'm sure they have, but I don't know how much. That you can't spend that much time on it.
That's why a lot of people don't like playing it.
Yeah, because you have to practice it quite a bit to be any good
just
at
to
it.
Rebound out of it.
Yeah. And then their ability to all of a sudden, 3 of their most important possessions of the game, they got offensive rebounds on, right in a row.
Yeah, Dixie, that's what Vandy does. They lock you up. And the thing about Nebraska, just shutting down that offense.
Yeah, immediately. Like
Vandy can their top metrics on both sides of the ball in offensive and defensive efficiency.
Yeah. They're 6 on offense, 30 on defense. Yeah. Something like that.
And like I said, they turn you over.
Yeah.
With live ball stuff. And did you watched them against Florida a week ago?
Mm-hmm.
Now people are going to be down on Florida, but playing against Iowa, you'll look like that.
That's what I was trying to say earlier in the week and during the game yesterday. People were like, oh man, Florida looks terrible. I was like, that's Iowa's doing that to them. That's what Iowa does to people.
Florida is elite. That.
That's a really good team.
That's a good team.
That got caught in. They got Iowa. That stylistically. Yeah, that's the reason Iowa plays that way.
I've seen it. That's a good basketball team. I've seen them boat race good teams.
It sort of reminds me.
You just can't play their style, and Iowa didn't.
Do you remember? I'm sure you do. So this is kind of a deep cut. It sort of reminds me of Tony Bennett before he went to Virginia, when he was at Washington State, where they weren't as talented, but they usually have 1 or 2 good guards, and they would just drag you into the muck and make this the fewest possession game possible. That's how Iowa plays. Iowa plays like Tony Bennett before he could get dudes at Virginia.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have no idea what kind of recruiter McCollum will be at this level, at the Big Ten level. But if he can ever get dudes at all, there's a good chance it'll look like Virginia after Tony Bennett started getting dudes.
Yeah. So Ben, that's the problem. But I don't know. He's kind of in and out sometimes all year. But who did I ask you about? This was
it Boogie Flan?
Nope. I said, how do you feel about? I said, is Lee good?
Oh,
well, we talked a lot about Boogie Flan because Boogie Flan didn't get it going until probably middle of January,
and he shot the ball terribly.
Well, we went through his stats.
Yeah,
he's like a 22% 3-point.
Yeah, he's like a 15-point drop off from last
but
year.
You see how he defends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lee's the one that I think flies under the radar because a lot of times he's busy being busy.
Yeah,
what
are we doing?
And though that front line, how do they not just get touches every single time down the court?
Honestly, completely inexcusable. You just have to get those guys the ball all the time. Especially, and Hal gets way too many touches on the perimeter.
Mm.
You got to get that guy the ball in better places.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think, I know that Golden got all the shine and whatever for the team last year, and rightfully so.
You want me to reenact him cussing out Cal on the bench? Cal said, "What'd you say?" I told you that's how Golden is.
Oh yeah,
Golden
nuts.
fights everybody.
He's nuts.
Everybody,
just out of his mind.
I think it's just like in the coaches now.
Oh yeah,
like everybody is like
everybody
pissed, and I get it. It's stressful to coach Division I sports
for sure.
It's
and you're in
a lot going on,
kind of highest pressure. Like there is maybe no individual like set of games that changes who you're perceived as a coach
in this time.
I think specifically the round of 32. Because you know what nobody says? Like nobody's like, oh, he made 4 straight round of 32s. But if you say he made 4 straight Sweet 16s, we think of him entirely differently as a basketball coach. Like I think it's this game specifically might be like the single biggest indicator of how we feel about a coach. The second one might be the Elite Eight, because the difference between an Elite Eight and a Final Four is enormous. But like the different
you get to say you made it to the Sweet 16, you're almost unfireable.
That's what I mean.
Unless you're at like
you're at like a Final Fours or championships or bust. If you make multiple Sweet 16s,
people were mad
you're
at Coach
good.
K for losing in 02. They just won it in 01.
Yes.
It's like tough crowd.
Now, like, listen, that team was pretty stacked. Like, but
still, like, it's hard.
Yeah, it gets really hard. There's other good teams. But yeah, like if you
look, this is coming from Carolina guy. That 98, like this, it happens.
If you make multiple Sweet
Utah
16,
had no business beating them.
That's fair. I'll accept that. But if you make multiple Sweet 16s, like you gotta really put it in the ditch to get fired.
Yeah.
But you make multiple rounds of 32, it's like, I can't get over the top.
Well, that's Cronin.
Yeah.
Were they calling it like first round Cronin? He said, one of the questions was, hey, what do you got to do to get out of the first weekend? And he's like, I'm not going to answer that. I'm thinking about tonight. Then he gave it like 3 seconds and he goes, I'd like $5 million. I'd like $5 million more. How about that's my answer to that question. And I was like, oh,
that's a joke.
That dude made a Final Four like 4 years ago.
That's what we're on.
5 years ago. At UCLA.
It's like, hey,
he made a Final Four.
No, you guys said that was because Jaime got hot.
It was.
And Juzang played out of his court.
It absolutely was. But my point is still like, this is a guy that has, because he's not making Sweet 16s now, if he's making Sweet 16s and getting bounced, people are like, he made 3 Sweet 16s, he made a Final Four, whatever. Now he can't get out of the first round.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he still is the guy that made the Final Four, however you feel about that team.
Yeah, and I think that was the way the question was phrased. I'm almost, hey, so Suave, do me a solid. Just go to the clip was on TikTok. Go Cronin type in Cronin 5 mil.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Cronin 5 mil to get that. Like, and the question, I didn't think it was unfair. This is just on the heels of TK saying we don't ask hard enough questions, but
I wasn't in the room, TK. I couldn't.
No, but I mean, to TK's point,
that would have been a good question to ask.
I get it.
I mean, it would have been a good question to ask.
I get it. I'm just trying to think of.
I'm just saying I personally can't be responsible for that.
Our guys, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I get it. There is
a lot of emotion. You're excited to have gotten there. It would have been. You'd had to kind of been a little more of a hoops head to drill it down and talk the actual basketball part of, because most of the questions centered around feelings.
So
it wasn't the tactics.
So here's that's what I was going to bring up. Is
I feel like I'm just
a lot of, I think, and people I think need to remember this sometimes. A lot of people in the media are trained as reporters, not on experts on the sport.
Yeah.
Right. So they're searching for things that they understand, whether it's storylines or narratives or the way people feel about things. And also, a lot of times that makes for a better story than X's and O's. Like, it's hard to write through X's and O's. It's easier to talk through X's and O's.
We want people to ask questions. I want you to listen to this. Given the UConn game and whatever, and the stakes are at play, you think this is a fair answer from Cronin?
I feel like anything needs to change with the approach, roster construction, or the way?
I have no, right now I'm worried about tonight consoling the guys.
I need for you guys to help me.
We'll stay here in the front row.
I'd like about $5 more million.
Still nothing.
There's my
That's
answer.
okay. Keep going. They'll give me the thumbs up if we have audio.
Yeah, I think that's the thing you just have to remember is most of these people are like, there's no like basketball school. Like there's no football school in terms of like classes, really.
Yeah.
When you're going through journalism, stuff like that. And like, listen, Kobe, I get it. They cover basketball. They should know basketball. But like, I'm just telling you how like people.
I couldn't sit here with a straight face and say, "Hey, Kobe, you're TK, you're wrong."
I agree.
I think it would just be it'd be a nice twist. It would be
Austin does bring up a good point here. He says in these specific press conferences, you don't get a lot of local questions.
Yeah,
it's a lot of national media.
It is national.
Seeing Nebraska for the first time.
When that's what I was saying last week about
that's
how they handle questions. It's short snippets and it's national media, but Carolina is a national brand. When I was talking about Hurrdat Davis's presser,
yes.
So
what do you think went wrong there,
dude? I'm just like,
what do you mean?
I mean, Jay Wright's got to be $6 million. You could get Golden. I wouldn't cheer for him. You can wait for Tommy Lloyd to use. I've already gone through 6, 7 snares.
I mean,
Byington can come over from.
He hasn't technically been fired, right? Correct. He hasn't technically been fired. Okay, I'm just making sure.
No. I mean, they can get serious about basketball, or they can stay with him.
First of all,
I don't. They can't get serious about basketball and
keep him. No, they're either serious about basketball or they're serious about not making Roy Williams mad. That's basically the decision, right? Yeah. Which go ahead and make Roy Williams mad. You know what? I bet Roy Williams likes winning. So I'd go ahead and make that decision. But I don't think Jay Wright's coming back. I don't think he has any interest in coaching in this era. Like he got out when he got out, I think, for a reason.
You don't think even at a school like Carolina where he wouldn't have to work as hard for NIL?
I mean, maybe, but
you're not like
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I thought of it as
like he ain't gonna have to do a lot of legwork.
So that's the thing, is he's not like going to fundraising dinners probably that much.
No.
Villanova, you kind of have to pass
Jay Wright
the hat.
Ain't raising any money. Jay Wright would be spending money.
Yeah. You kind of have to pass the hat a little bit more at Villanova. Not that Villanova's poor, but it's not Carolina in terms of basketball funding. So that's a fair point.
They can't get serious about basketball with Hurrdat Davis, Dixie.
I'll be honest. I would love to see Jay Wright at Carolina.
What do you mean?
I would love to see.
Are you just going to keep playing that over and over from Hubert?
What do you mean?
I agree, Ben. Jay Wright at North Carolina would be a nightmare for the rest of the ACC.
Yeah, and I just think there's a this is just, it's kind of wishful thinking, but I didn't pull it out of thin air either.
Yeah.
Byington's an alum.
Byington's about the only alum like in the family guy that is even worth talking to.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not chomping at the bit for them to go that direction. Like, we've tried that.
I know. Like, so that was going to be my question, because we've got 2 blue bloods that might come open this offseason. We don't know what Bill Self's situation is. He talked about it yesterday where he goes,
how about if they just remotely played a little well?
That's them all year, though. They just go through these shirts. They don't play
That's
basketball.
Pretty bad to have hung in the game like that.
For sure.
There was nothing really remotely good about them.
No.
And KU still almost won that game.
Yeah. St. John's is kind of like that, though.
Oh, I know. I know.
Like, there's a reason they lost last year when they did. You know, there's a reason they were only a 5 seed.
Just the burning of the foul right before that. I was like, you're going to need that.
Yeah.
You just are.
Yeah. Especially when you get scorched to the hoop on the next. Be nice to be able to reach out and just be like, oh, hey, come back here.
Yeah, just foul him.
Hey, come right back here. Every basketball player in the world has been in a moment where like they just get caught off balance and they're just like, come here. Yeah. Come on back.
And I'm not, listen, I wasn't cheering for KU because I had St. John in the bracket, but I do hate the way St. John's plays.
Oh, I do too. Like, TK asked me this yesterday. He goes like, is this why you don't like Rick Pitino? I was like, it's a lot of it. I'll be honest with you. It's hard to watch.
But how hard does Zuby play, though?
Oh, plays his brains out.
Fudge.
Like, I wish he played for anybody else because I like him.
I know there's a coach that had him.
I know, right? I wish you played for anybody else. We're going to take a quick break. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. Let's Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Edwards Hyundai. Save up to $7,000 off MSRP on the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy all-wheel drive. March Mania deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Score big with these savings. Or finance the 2026 Hyundai Tucson SE all-wheel drive at 0% for 72 months, starting at just $461 a month. Getaway deals this good won't last. Head to Edwards Hyundai today.
Like the feelings were awful. Awful, great, awful, great. They scoring, us scoring, they scoring, us scoring. Then Frager made the layup. I get in. I was like, you remember UCLA against Gonzaga. I don't know if anyone who remembers it, but oh my God. I think Jalen Suggs made that half-court shot. I was thinking, like when number 3 hits that shot, I was just like thinking the same thing. I hope that's not going out like that. Let's not go home from that shot. And thank God we are blessed about that shot and just so happy. Huge respect to number 3 and Vanderbilt, all the team. They are a great team. They are the far best 5th seeds that we have. We play in. Just huge respect.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DVM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ, talking all things college hoops, college basketball, NCAA tournament. Before the break there, we were kind of talking about Kansas and North Carolina, how they both might come open. The thing that I really appreciate about how Kansas has operated versus the way that North Carolina has operated is Kansas is totally cool going outside the family. There's no like thing about that, right? Whereas like the Dean Smith of it all has sort of hovered. And listen, Roy Williams is obviously an incredible hire.
And that they let themselves off the hook with Roy though. Roy went and did his thing at KU too. And there were even some Carolinians that were like, well, Roy didn't win enough at Kansas, but he's one of ours, so
we'll take him.
We're good,
I guess.
But you know, don't forget about Doherty,
Bill Guthridge, Doherty, obviously Hubert Davis.
Yeah.
Like none of those guys get hired if it's not for them keeping it in the family.
At one point, don't forget that when Monmouth was hot with King Rice, that King Rice was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wes Miller's been the guy, and he just got fired at Cincinnati. Like there's been a bunch of it's the same thing that happened with Coach K. Right? Every time one of his assistants would go out and coach somewhere else.
Bring Johnny Dawkins back.
Hey, bring Wojo
Hey,
back.
Tommy Amaker, he's killing the Ivy League.
Yeah. Be like, oh, he had that stint at Michigan. He looked, oh, no, I'm right. No, get rid of him. Like these keep it in the family teams. Like it's not like it's almost certain that the best candidate did not go to your school.
Yeah.
Like that. And then when you're one of those jobs, you owe it to yourself to just be like, hey, let's just get the best guy.
Lily, you should walk in here. I imagine it would be as similarly as nice to maybe where you live. Certainly not anybody's basement. What an idiot. Jesus Christ. These people are stupid. And the other thing about that is like just get the best guy.
That's what I mean. Like when you're a Duke, a North Carolina, a Kansas, a Kentucky. Now, Kentucky had a hard time of it for a couple reasons. Number one, they were not very nice to a guy who won a lot.
Cal?
Yeah.
God, you honk for that dude.
Dude,
man.
He's better than we give him credit for. He just is.
Well, he's aged better because of who's followed him, but
not just that. I said this while he was still there, when people were so mad at him. And by the way, this is the guy that UCLA is sick of. Final Four, Sweet 16, missed the tournament, round of 32, and now he can't win the big one.
Short-term memory.
Like that, you know what I mean? Like
how's the audio? Got it?
Do we have Cronin? Let's give it a shot.
Is this a fair question given that resume?
Do you feel like anything needs to change with the approach, roster construction, or the way you're...
Yeah, I have no... Right now, I'm worried about tonight, consoling the guys.
Here in the front row.
I'd like about $5 more million. There's my answer.
Yeah, because the first part of the question was what
would you change about roster construction?
No, what do you have to do to get out of the round of 32?
Gotcha.
Would you change roster construction? What are you doing? Like he prefaced it with not getting out of there's a more full part of the question, but he asked him specifically
about the round of 32. Yeah. And it's like, well, 3 years in a row, not that long ago, it was Final Four, Sweet 16.
Yeah.
They won 31 games in the season in 22-23. That's pretty good. 31-6, like that's winning 30 games is hard in college basketball.
I'd like $5 more million. That's my answer to that.
I do think UCLA is kind of a weird job.
Yeah, because it's like we've talked about this ad nauseum.
Yeah.
It's like Indiana.
Yeah. I think it's worse than Indiana, personally. Indiana, I think, cares dramatically more about the athletics.
They apparently seem to have more money.
Well, they do now, apparently. I think they care dramatically more about their athletics than, like, in the state than people in Los Angeles care about UCLA.
Can I just say something? Like, and I love front office sports because front office sports likes us, but we see, and it's not just them. We see a lot of these compare and contrastings. When these little teams beat big teams or vice versa, we're seeing all these budget graphics.
Yeah.
Like, how do we think we know?
I don't think anybody knows.
I'm just curious.
I don't think anybody knows. There's a handful of teams that I have a pretty good guess on just because I have people that are in the know in those certain
do you think anybody knew Creighton's NIL better than I did?
Nope.
Okay. And I still couldn't get it within $600K.
Yeah, I think I was within probably 2 million on what Creighton's was.
Right?
Yeah. And yes, you're talking.
So like how do they know?
Yeah.
Like, is Iowa State really telling you what Lipsy's getting?
Probably not. I mean, what was the favorite thing this year? Oh, you're paying Owen Freeman however much money. That's not how much he was making.
Oh, I know.
It just wasn't. I don't know what to tell you. That's not what the number was.
Yeah, it's just.
Or,
we're going to keep seeing these graphics as.
I don't think anybody has any idea.
Because now coaches talk openly about it.
All they talk openly about is needing more.
Yeah, right.
Which I think that's different than being like, well, I'm paying my point guard this and my center makes this. Like, that's different. Every coach is I'm sure, more than happy to be like, yeah, I'd be better with more money.
Yeah, 5 more million. How about that?
About the only guy that's talked openly about specifics of money is when Rule, and this number's out of date now, when Rule was like a starting quarterback cost you $1 million.
Yeah, remember those days?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Inflation has not hit anywhere harder than college football.
They're back at it today.
Now, apparently, that's what it costs to be the third string quarterback at Oregon. But I do find it fascinating. I do think they need to fire Hubert Davis. I think they need to move on.
Yeah.
And
come on, man.
If you don't get Jay Wright,
no bleep.
If you don't get Jay Wright,
what do you mean?
Who's the next on your list?
If we don't get Jay Wright?
Yeah.
Let's just start with who I would take.
Because you don't like Golden. You would take Golden because he's good, but you don't like him. So who's next on your preference list?
Getting Golden it's significantly easier to cheer for Ohtani.
I was gonna say it'd be like Luka getting traded to the Lakers.
Yep. That's the equivalent. That's the one that is as good an equivalent as you could get. I'll cheer for you, but
not gonna like it. Not gonna enjoy this at all.
I take Byington.
What is Wright your number one?
Yep.
Okay, so Wright's number one.
Yep.
You would take Byington.
Yep.
Take
Golden. I think you have to make a run at Tommy Lloyd.
So honestly, I know you're not necessarily in love with Tommy Lloyd's coaching prowess necessarily, although I do think it's still pretty early to make that determination.
Well, we'll see.
Well, this year we'll see. If he can't figure it out this year, then
he's been here before.
Yeah. This is, I said this when the tournament started. This is the best team in the tournament.
Burries makes you look pretty smart. Yeah, because they're
complete and they're healthy.
They're healthy.
But they're the only one
a healthy Duke is right there.
I like the backcourt of Arizona so much better.
I'm telling you, though, again, the way Duke can turn your water off.
I get it. I do.
They're elite.
I get it.
Duke is elite defensively.
I understand.
It is hard to sniff that thing.
I really struggle with the idea that you got to rely on.
Yeah, Dixie, I'm guessing, but not really. Yes,
100%.
Yes.
If you hire a coach they believe in, there is basically no budget at Carolina for basketball.
Yep.
NIL. That's what I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need how much for that 5-star? Done. You need that much for that transfer? Done.
They have to be able. So the problem is the coach's temperament that's getting the guys, because we undersell that.
In what sense?
Because just because a player costs X amount of money and he's a great player doesn't mean you can coach him.
Yes, 100%.
Right?
You got to find good fits.
It seems like the better player that is, the tougher time Hubert Davis would have coaching him.
Sure.
Not all coaches give me those vibes.
He might be, I'm not trying to be mean. He might be an incredible mid-major coach.
Yeah, like Cal, I could see Cal could coach, looks like he could coach anybody.
Yeah.
Patino looks like he could coach anybody.
And has.
So, that's my.
Yeah.
Even Shire's command.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, it could be the type of guys he's getting from a temperament standpoint.
Yeah.
But
that's half the battle. A lot of coaches miss that.
It's got to fit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not just about getting the best player.
It's getting the best player that fits the temperament that you can coach.
And Shire controls that bench.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the way that the Boozers were raised, but hey, yes, coach, no coach. They sit there. Well, I don't have to sit too much anymore, but
no, but Caden Boozer. It's not like he was
could you imagine Painter coaching a high-level headache?
No.
An expensive headache?
No.
I just couldn't see that in Purdue's program.
Absolutely not. That's a good point. Let's take a quick break here. We'll talk to Sam McKEWON coming up next. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
March into savings at Edwards Chevrolet. Lease the 2026 Chevrolet Silverado RST starting at just $489 a month with zero down and first payment due at signing. This is what March savings looks like. Or lease the 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazer LS starting at just $289 a month with zero down and first payment due at signing. Get to Edwards Chevrolet today. Together, let's drive. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Chevrolet GMC.
Feel like you'd made that last shot? Just talk about the emotions of everything that went on in this game and kind of what you're feeling after watching that not go in, similar to kind of how it was against Missouri.
Yeah, it hurts pretty bad being that close, especially. hard fought game. It was electric the whole time through. Big crowd presence. And yeah, it hurts that the season's over. Yeah.
No, I think it was a really strong match from Omaha. I thought they came out very focused and did a lot of really nice things. And like you said, Emily Londot had a really good game in a lot of different areas. And I thought, like, we were a little slow to get to stop her, and our lineups might not have been where they needed to be. But I thought that the Supernovas played really well. And I know that we didn't hold them to some of the stats we wanted to, so I know that we didn't maybe get together, but I thought we have to stick together in those tough times, and I think we separated a little bit. Our serving got a little bit lax in the second game. I thought we came after them strong in game one, and maybe just pulled off a little too much. I think we have to stay on that, and but I thought all in all, I like the hustle and the way we fought all the way to the end, so that was important.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Well, things weren't going very well for us, and I thought our guys did a great job keeping their poise and finding a way to make big plays when we needed them. Yeah, Sam, I thought he was terrific all game long. Didn't score a lot, but he made big plays, and then Braden was huge for us off the bench. I'm really proud. I mean, how about this place, Andy? I mean, this is unbelievable. Get this one, got to regroup and ready to get down to Houston.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Don't forget to give our friends over at Next Gen a call, no matter what you got going on. Even I know it's got male right there in the name. My wife's even gone to see them and had a great time with their staff, and they were so attentive and listen to her and figure out what's going on with her so that she can feel better, have a little bit more energy as well. I know they're helping DB out with the peptides.
How about my man Chris too? He's in on the TB 500 and the BPC 157.
Listen, they call
157 is kind of on a heater.
They call it on, they call it the Wolverine compound for a reason. You got a little feel like you can heal yourself.
The minute I got home yesterday, I had about 15 needles in me.
You got to load up.
Man, your boy was sore.
Give him a call, 402-614.
Not in the veins, man.
9700. Yeah, you got to stay out of the veins.
No spoons.
Subcutaneous.
And nothing in the veins.
No, don't have like a lighter or anything.
Nah, man. Nah.
We've got Sam McKEWON with us now from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, how are we doing this morning?
We're doing great. It's a great week for Nebraska athletics.
Hey, sounds sensational. Like, can I start with one though, Sam? Just because you're one of the few people I can talk in depth about it with. What do you think happened to the women's team this year, given their roster against Baylor?
Well, if we're talking, you're talking this year, you're talking against Baylor.
Closing. Well, so I think they're kind of one and the same.
Yeah.
But I'll be curious to see kind of how you think. Closing time, crunch time, keeping your composure, making plays late. Like, I think they're intertwined.
They are. I think late in games, again, this exclusively happened against really good teams. So we'll point that out. But late in games against really good teams, the opponents would crank up the pressure and the physicality. And officials don't call as much in the fourth quarter. This probably happened 5 times this season. And I think Nebraska was just not able to get stops consistently, and B, and this is obviously the other half of it, they weren't able to get much going offensively short of Britt Prince. So if Britt Prince could make a pull-up jumper or make a play at the rim or draw a foul, then Nebraska was okay. If she couldn't, there wasn't necessarily a plan B that was successful on offense. On the, defensively, obviously the post defense is an issue. That's the area where I anticipated they would miss Alexis Markowski the most, was with her defense and her rebounding. I think they actually probably replicated her scoring in the aggregate when you put it all together. But defense and rebounding is something they did not have consistently. And of course, they were missing Natalie Potts. So Natalie didn't play all year. If she had, that's probably worth 4 or 5 wins. You're not going to probably beat the best teams in the league. You're not going to beat UCLA. You're not going to beat a few other teams, but you would have beaten 4 or 5 of these teams. You might have taken one from Iowa, and they would have, I don't know if they would have been a top 16 seed, but they would have been close because Minnesota got a top 16 seed. And I think if you put Natalie Potts on this team, Nebraska and Minnesota are basically the same. So the question is, they got to get Potts back. When do they get Potts back? Do they get her back?
Yeah, she's coming back. I think she comes back, Sam. I don't know if that's a hot take. I think Potts comes back. Now let me say this though, Sam. Sometimes I'm just talking about just inbounding the basketball.
Yeah. So there's an unfortunate moment in that game that I did not even mention on Twitter. There is an inbounds play, and I don't know if I think it's the ref's fault. The ref did not give Callan Hake the ball when Britt Prince broke to go get the ball.
Yeah, when she's waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was about a 1.5 second delay, and what happened was Britt makes that break. She's wide open to get an inbounds pass. This is about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. Nebraska was up by 3 or something. And Hake didn't even have the ball. So that's unfortunate. I don't know who that's on. I feel like there was a little bit of a delay in the ref giving the ball. Maybe Britt broke too soon. I didn't hear a whistle. I don't really know. But stuff like that stuff's got to get synced up. That was a big play in the game. Now Britt still got the ball, but she gave it back to Callan because she didn't have any room, and Hake went out of bounds with it or gave it up. I'm not exactly sure. I think she stepped out of bounds and gave it up simultaneously, and they just called it a steal. So yeah, that happened a lot this year. It's frustrating. They've got to get it fixed. They probably need post defense. It's entirely possible that the 5-star they're bringing in is that person who can get that to them. But I still think they need to put more guards around Britt Prince. They signed 2 transfers this year. Those 2 transfers did not sufficiently supply the kind of support that you would hope for around Britt. And so now you have Callan Hake leaving and Logan Nisley comes back. One of those transfers comes back, and you have 2 freshmen. And it's a lot to ask true freshmen to come into the Big Ten and suddenly be the people that Britt Prince needs to make it happen. Of course, Britt Prince was pretty good as a freshman. So there's a lot of questions to answer in the next 3 weeks in the transfer portal. Does Nebraska have enough money to go and get a great player? They don't really like going to the transfer portal. They like to do it through, freshmen. I get it, but is that going to get you a top 16 seed? And so now they've named it. Says, well, we want to be a top 16 seed. Well, to be that, you better have the players. You're not going to get sort of this magical thing that Nebraska men's basketball has. So Nebraska men's basketball is a top 16 seed. If this were the women's tournament, they would have hosted 2 games at PBA, and that would have been basically like it was in Oklahoma City. But I don't think you're going to get this team again. And I think Fred knows that. He knows he got his son basically for free. So, it's really hard to get that team twice. And so I think for Nebraska women to get where they want to go, they're going to have to go get some players in the portal and buy them. I mean, there's just I'm not trying to be coarse about it. You just have to go get players, and you got to have the money to do it. And Iowa does have the money to do it, and they're a top 16 seed, and Nebraska needs to find the money to do it.
Sam, you talked a lot about the roster construction there in terms of as an answer to the late game situations. It seems like a lot of times we go to, and this is a team, the Nebraska women is a great example of this because they did lose so many leads over kind of the last half of the season, especially. A lot of times we go to the coaching before we go to the roster. Why, in your mind, did you go roster first?
Oh.
Well, because players win games. Now, the coaching part of it is in college, the coach is also the GM.
Sorry, Sam, super quick here. Does this apply? Is this just basketball for you, or do you think that applies across sports?
I think that it applies across sports, one. Okay. 2, it applies more in what you would call strong link sports like basketball, where there are fewer people on the court.
Okay.
And so, and that phrase is one that was kind of used by Malcolm Gladwell. Football is a weak link sport. If you have a weakness in football, it is more likely to be exposed and exploited. And that might being yeah. So if you have 2 guys on defense that really struggle in football,
Malcolm Gladwell.
That's a problem, and that is kind of a coaching issue because you got to find a way to cover up your weakness. In basketball, if you have the 2 best players on the floor at any given time, if you have LeBron James,
unless you're Rutgers,
right? Unless you're Rutgers, but if you have LeBron James, your likelihood of you have Kobe Bryant, your likelihood of winning goes way up because you have LeBron James, you have Kobe Bryant. So I'm not saying that anyone on Nebraska's team is LeBron James, but if you have Caitlin Clark, the likelihood of you winning is much higher than if you don't, until you have South Carolina's team. That's kind of how it works. Yeah, you have to have a team that's so good that can offset Caitlin Clark, and South Carolina and LSU did those 2 years, and Creighton did 1 year. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's a long answer, and obviously people probably don't care that much about it, but I do think the roster matters. It is the coach's responsibility to put it together, but in my opinion, it's darn good coaching to play Kennedy Williams, who I think should have played more this year. And people were critical. It's well, Amy's playing her daughter. I'm like, no, Kennedy Williams does what she's supposed to do, and she does it really well. And she plays good defense. And she hustles, and she makes really smart passes. And I'm like, Kennedy probably should have played more this year. I thought there were a couple games early in the season where maybe mom didn't play daughter as much as she could have. That said, Kennedy is not going to be a 20-point-a-game scorer. That's just not probably where she's going to be. It's to her credit that she knows that and doesn't try to become that. But I don't think anybody's going to argue if Nebraska is able to go out and get a player who scores 20 a game, which might reduce the amount of time that Kennedy's on the floor, and it might distill her role to defense and the things that she's really good at. But you get another option on the floor who's going to score 20 a game because they're 5'9". So that's part of the way I'd put it. I thought it was darn good coaching that Kennedy Williams started playing more and more as the season went on. I thought it made their team better. I think at the same time, Kenny's probably a 20-minute game and player if you can go find a scorer that can put, and maybe one of these 2 freshmen are that player. Maddie Stewart, and I can't remember the other player's name. Maybe those are those players. I don't know. Now, do they get it going quickly enough? I'm not sure. Now, people should not hear that and hear that I don't think Kendi Williams is a good player. I think she was maybe maximized her ability more than basically anybody else on the team this year. I thought she played terrific. But you need people who can score too.
This is why I think this is an interesting conversation, Sam, and I appreciate the long answer on that, because I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. I think, and I believe this to be true, and I think this is kind of what you're getting at here. I think coaching, you're more likely to be able to coach a team into a close game than you are able to coach a close game into a win if you don't have the players.
I think that's fair. Right. I mean,
we see that a lot, and we don't give credit to the first half, but when we see a team lose a lot of close games, we go, oh, they're clearly doing something. I mean, this was the narrative with Greg McDermott before they went on their kind of run in the last like 3-4 years, where it's like, loses a lot of close games. And I'm sitting there and I go, hey, they just don't have as good of players as Villanova. That's why they lose those close games. But they don't have as good of players as, like, there was a stretch with Kevin Willard at Seton Hall, right, where he had a bunch of guys that were like late first, early second round draft picks. And I was like, Creighton doesn't have that guy, so they're not going to win that game if it's close late. And we don't always equate, like, I find it fascinating when we switch kind of credit and blame from coaching to player, and it seems like in these late game situations it's amplified. So that's why I'm sticking on this so long.
That's good,
Sam, because like I think you're right. I think if Nebraska women had just a couple more better players, then we're having a totally different conversation about how this season went.
Yeah, and I think some of it is scoring. Like, better is relative. Like, if you had a team that can play really good defense and can play a certain way, that's fine. I think that ideally the way Williams wants to play is somewhat similar to what Greg McDermott and Fred Hoiberg are doing. You know, maybe not quite 5 out, right? Like, she's used a traditional post player, I think, a little bit more than Fred has.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think she would argue or be totally against the concept of a rink mask level kind of player, where it's like it's a post and rink mask can go in the post. We see him do it. But he can also step out and do all the other things. Is to some degree that Natalie Potts? It kind of is. Natalie is not, she's like 6'1.5", 6'2". The reality is Natalie Potts was hurt. And so, like, you do have to give Williams some grace for the fact that the best player on the team, and I do think if Natalie's healthy, she might be the best player on the team. The best player on the team not playing. And, so that's a question they're going to have to answer. The challenge is, I don't know that they know the answer, and the transfer portal's only open for 3 weeks. So what do you do? Like, they missed her this year, but they don't know if she's going to, maybe they do know. Maybe they do. It's a question we have to ask. But like the portal's not going to be open forever. Do you need to go out and get a player who replicates what she can do? Or do you say, well, look, she's going to be back, and she's going to be back, and she may not be what she was in the first 5 games of 2 years ago, but she's going to be pretty good. And so we're going to go get a guard that doesn't require these 2 freshmen to have to play, huge roles. They can kind of come along the way that Nisley did, for example. And Nisley's a good player. So we'll just have to see. I don't know exactly how they'll attack it, but the Big Ten is just too good to kind of stand pat. Like, you can't, unless if you're going to have the goal of being a top 16 seed and playing the Big Ten, I think your roster has to be commensurate with those goals. So if your goal is just to make the NCAA tournament every year, then do that and just stay where you're at. But they say their goal is to be a top 16 team, and I think that's going to require either these freshmen all being superstars, or you got to go out and find a transfer who's truly impactful. And they didn't have a truly impactful transfer this year. They were banged up, or they weren't consistent. You name it.
All right, let me ask you something, because this conversation is fascinating. I do like the Malcolm Gladwell reference as a Malcolm Gladwell nerd. You know who else you should talk to about Malcolm Gladwell is Coach Rule, Sam. Big Malcolm Gladwell guy. But anyway, I say all that to say the strong weak link thing, and what Nebraska was able to do against Vandy. Because in our chat, we wanted some of our hoops heads to like get into the nitty gritty during the presser about some of the wrinkles that Coach Hoiberg and Coach Lenzer and Big Z were doing during the game to kind of quell the momentum, whether it was the 1-3-1 zone, whether it was the substitution, whether it was the good sneaky 2 minutes from Curtis. There were lots of little things, I think, in that game outside of Nebraska's actual resolve and their mental toughness and Frager and Berke and Mast all stepping up. When you're looking at the nuances of basketball as a strong weak, strong link, weak link kind of thing, how beautiful was the combination of what we saw on Saturday then when you talk about player performance versus what the coaches actually allowed them to be in position to do?
It was a really well coached game from Nebraska. I think that you can watch that game again, which I've done, and I'm just impressed with the way that Nebraska was able to find ways to keep scoring. Once Vanderbilt got hot and once Vanderbilt kind of figured a few things out, it did look like the tide was going to turn and the game was going to flip. And Nebraska just did not let that happen. It was able to hold on. And the final 14 points of the game, Nebraska did not make a three. They only took 1 3. And the final 14 points of the game were jumper, layup, layup, free throw, layup, layup. Everything at the end of the game was within, outside of the jumper and the free throws, obviously, was within about 4 feet. And so by the end of the game, what Nebraska had understood is it had worn down Vanderbilt sufficiently to be able to get what it wanted at the rim, and it attacked the rim. And so for that team to understand late in the game how it had to change the way it scored, or that it could change the way that it scored and go after Vanderbilt in a different way, just kind of reflects I guess I would call it the symbiosis between that coaching staff and the players. And this is a really good example of how Fred Hoiberg got the formula right for Fred. It may not be right for everybody, but it's right for him. It's 400 level, masters level players who understand the game at such a level that they're not flustered in those moments. They may lose, but they're not flustered, and they know how to do things the way their coach would do them on the floor. And so they're like all coaches on the floor. He made the comment about how I didn't even have to talk in that one huddle because everybody around them are all old guys. Now, it isn't going to be easy next year. I'll say this, and this, of course, this run hasn't ended, and it's a magical run. They got to replace a bunch of guys that knew what the hell they were doing. And it isn't going to be easy unless you find guys who also know what the heck they're doing and also haven't played here yet. So, it's not going to be easy. You have to replace Mast, Hoiberg, and Lawrence, and that won't be easy. But part of the reason they're so good is because Sam Hoiberg's 23, and Jamarcus Lawrence is 22 or 23, and Rick Mast is 25. They're old men. They know what they want on the floor. They know the game inside and out. It's a good chance all three of them will be coaches, and that's part of how they get it done. Now, I think the beginning of the game was crucial, and I know it was 2 hours before the incredible finish, but I thought Nebraska played with incredible energy and urgency in that game, and they needed every bit of that 10-point lead because Vanderbilt got hot, and they came on. Imagine if the game at halftime is 31-30 instead of 37-29. Vanderbilt wins that game because you knew their punch was going to come.
Yeah, Vandy came 10 threes in the second half.
Yeah, you knew their punch was coming. The same deal with Iowa and Florida. The games were eerily similar. The only difference is that Iowa did it in a road game atmosphere and Nebraska did it in a home game atmosphere. Iowa played the first 5 minutes of the second half is the best any team has played this year. And they built a 12-point lead, and they needed every point. They needed it because you have to assume that the more athletic team, sooner or later, they're going to do something. And Vanderbilt was more athletic than Nebraska, and the same is true of Florida. And so now these two teams play each other again, and I don't know if either team has an athletic advantage over the other. I think the reality is they're very, very similar. I think Nebraska is a little bit better. But Iowa does so many of the things that Nebraska does well and vice versa that, it's truly a matchup of two teams that kind of have the same culture and they kind of have the same, whatever you want to call it. The only difference is the pace at which they play and styles determine fights. So like round 3, which team dictates the pace of that game is probably going to be the team that wins.
Sam, I am. 2-point game, obviously. You talked about Nebraska having a 10-point lead, and then, Vandy storms back. So some ebb and flow a little bit. Only 2 Nebraska players, Sam, had a minus in the plus-minus category. Tight game, 74-72. Nebraska ballooned that thing to 10. Only 2 players, Sam. Who were they?
The 2 players that had a minus?
A minus in a game like that, the plus-minus side.
Oh, I don't know. Probably Sanford and somebody else. Who?
Ravi, take a guess. There were 2. -6, -2.
I would guess.
That's why you can't just.
I'm going to go off the board here. I'm going to say Jamarcus Lawrence and Berke.
Frager and Cale Jacobson.
Yeah, Cale makes sense. Yeah.
Cale with a -6, Frager with a -2.
Yeah. The bench guys.
Yeah. And Nebraska's bench, Sam, Nebraska's bench was better than Vandy's.
Frager was. Yeah, that's true. Yes, I agree. Vandy didn't have a big bench either. They tightened it too. It was such a great game. So Frager made a big difference in the game for sure.
Decisive too. I mean, 17-8 points off the bench.
Yeah.
So
it's a
very interesting stat.
It is. I mean, I think some of it is that's when Vandy got hot. There were certain moments in the second half and the other thing is the 14-4 start was all the starters. So that 10 points at the beginning probably skews things a little bit. And when Frager and Jacobson come on the court, Vanderbilt chiseled at that lead a little. That probably has something to do with why it looked the way that it did.
How about
on the plus minus?
How about you didn't pencil Nebraska for 38 points in the paint? That was wild.
I wouldn't have, but that's why they're good. Like they knew that in that game they were going to be able to do it, and they attacked the rim and Vanderbilt pressured outside. Obviously, Tyler Tanner is trying to pressure it, mid-court or wherever he's pressuring. But when it's like press coverage. If you bring guys up, you have to find ways to beat that pressure at the rim and make passes. And I thought Nebraska did a really good job of executing that for sure. And, Vanderbilt wanted to be aggressive, and at times it helped them. Tanner had 3 pick sixes, which is amazing. And that's 6 points. That's no joke. But Nebraska also found ways to beat that pressure. And, it'll be a game that people remember for a very long time. Now, this coming game, people might remember even longer because of who they're going to play. And finding a way to win this game against a coach that I think everybody respects, but I think is going to be a formidable challenge in years to come when he gets I'm telling you, they got 2 guys that are major conference players, and both of them played at the mid-major level. What they're doing right now is Cooper Koch is a major level player too. What they're doing right now is not easy to do with the players they're doing it with. And it is, he's a heck of a coach. And Iowa got very fortunate that he was there to get them. But like beating Florida is not something Iowa should have been able to do. They did it, and you tip your cap, but that was I don't know how I would describe that coaching performance. It was a Brad Stevens level coaching performance.
Well, he wins in a similar fashion in March, so that makes sense. That checks out.
Yeah. I
mean, McCollum wins late in March. Period.
He does, and I think it was. Now, again, can they duplicate that? I mean, Nebraska knows them inside and out. So, Nebraska is going to be able to take away some things. But if you were to tell me that I was going to score 73 on Florida, and at one point in the second half, they were averaging like 1.83 points per possession, which is unbelievable. I wouldn't have believed that, and they were able to do it. So, and they scored 73, and Florida scored in the second half? A lot, 45 or something like that. So they were able to do it with Florida getting hotter and hotter at the end of the game. It was impressive. And so I guess we'll just have to see how Nebraska attacks it this time. I'm going to take Nebraska to win that game, but
slight fade. Slight fade.
Yeah,
I think it's
they should be
2.5.
They're a better team. They showed that, I think, over the course of the season. And, I don't think you're going to get the wrestling match that you saw in Iowa City. I don't think that's going to happen again. That was dictated, I think, a little bit by the fans and who knows. But I think you're going to see a game that's closer to the one that you saw in PBA. But of course, that one went to overtime. So Iowa played its tail off in that game, and it will play its tail off again Thursday. And the good thing for Nebraska is Nebraska knows what Iowa's going to do, and so they know exactly the effort they're going to have to bring and the toughness they're going to have. And if they had played Florida, there's a lot of unknowns. They wouldn't have known what exactly it's like. They know what it's like against Iowa, and then if Nebraska wins, they got to root for Illinois to win in the other game, and then play a team that they know just as well as they know Iowa.
That's Sam McKEWON from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, appreciate the time as always. We will talk to you next week.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Sam.
That is Sam McKEWON from the Omaha World Herald. We'll take a quick break here. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
March into savings with Edwards Kia's March Mania lease special. Lease the 2025 Kia 4 EX starting at just $209 a month. A fresh new ride at an unbeatable price. This is what March Mania looks like. March into savings in a big way. Or lease the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at just $499 a month. Don't wait. March into savings right now at Edwards Kia.
Going into this tournament, if you want to advance, it's all about how you handle adversity. And our guys did a masterful job of hanging in there. Things weren't looking great, but it was still a 1 or 2 possession game. I think they got up 5 at one point, had a couple big putbacks, one by Sam, one by Rink, after not doing very much on the offensive glass all game. And then Price's play to Braden at the end of the game was just unbelievable with 9 seconds left. The question, do you call the timeout? But I thought we had numbers, and they all ran at Price, probably rightfully so, with what he does offensively, and he just made a great play to Braden, and then Braden did the rest. So really proud of our guys, and that last shot, man, it just took my breath away. That kid is an unbelievable player, and when that thing was up in the air, I was like, oh man, that's going in, and then hit every part of the rim. Thankfully, bounced out, and we're looking forward to next week getting the opportunity to continue to compete. Again, that's a really good team. They're a top 10 offense, and they're a top 30 defense. So for us to come out of here with a win is huge. A crowd, once again, was an unbelievable factor. I think they're all driving down to Houston in the morning, and we expect another big turnout again next weekend.
Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. You should meet us over at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill on Thursday. We'll be having another watch party for Nebraska basketball. We'll get you more details out as the week continues, but we'll definitely have some specials for you as well on that one. So make sure if you're not going to Houston, which I'm not sure how many people will be left here in the state of Nebraska, but whichever ones are welcome to come down and hang out at Hurrdat Sports Bar.
That's a quick, expensive turnaround.
It is. It's an easy flight, though. It's an expensive flight. Don't get me wrong.
There's nothing easy about flying.
Well, yeah, now you're right. Yeah, you're right.
There's nothing easy about flying.
Maybe it's maybe you're taking that 14-hour drive.
It's
14 to Houston.
Yeah, you've got family there.
I've done that drive multiple times.
I was going to say Dallas wasn't near that long.
No, but Dallas is like 12. Is like 3 to 4 more after Houston.
No,
it's at least 2. I think it's 3.
We did Dallas in, was it 9 or 10?
I think Houston's 4 past Dallas.
What did we do Dallas in?
10, 11, 12.
One of those, 10, 11,
Dallas
12.
to Houston drive is 3.5 hours.
Yeah, but Dallas is closer than going to Houston.
Oh, Dallas is, yes.
Okay,
but I'm
said
saying
further.
Houston is another 3 or 4 past Dallas.
All right, got you.
That Omaha to Houston is about a 13, 14-hour drive.
That makes sense.
It's a long drive. I've done it multiple times. Like it's a long drive, but you can do it in a day. You probably would have to do it on Wednesday, though, if you're going to get there for Thursday. I don't think you're waking up early enough to get there by a 6:30 tip on Thursday.
Most of the time, KJ, because I've driven it. That's why. I only talk about distances that I know.
I'll say you've done enough AAU trips. You have a pretty good sense of a lot of these drives.
Yep. We weren't flying anywhere. No, we weren't flying anything. Yeah, Captain, I came from LaGuardia yesterday.
Yeah, that looked like the pictures you showed me look like a nightmare.
There's 8,000-9,000 people in there.
Yeah, honestly, the 14-hour drive, you might actually end up on the plus end there with the way the lines were at the airport.
Yeah,
like you might save some time doing a 14-hour drive.
KJ, so I cannot say that I don't speed, but when we drive long distances, that's a Brett or a Heath drive.
Oh yeah.
I almost never drive.
Just passenger.
I'm the passenger.
That's that's not
now
bad.
3 or 4, 5. I drive to Chicago.
Yeah, I've driven to Chicago a bunch. Chicago's not a bad drive.
I drove to OKC. So, but if it's much longer than my window's about
like 6 to 7, so like it's about your
7's pushing it.
Yeah, well, because that's Chicago. Chicago's like right at 7.
7's pushing it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
4, 6, 8, 12.
Would you like to revisit the? The thing about the basketball and the media questions, I'm like, hey, that's a tough question. That's tough for me to handle. Recuse myself of that, but that wasn't good enough. So, like, would we like to reframe the basketball bit or let it go?
I mean, we can reframe it, I guess, if you want. Like, I think.
Can I say something about the basketball questions at like those national things?
Yeah.
There's like other national folks there who don't get to watch the team all the time, and you have very limited questions in those settings, and the national people take the questions. So, and they're just going to ask broad ranging questions.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of like, what's it feel like? And
exactly. Yeah. And like, oh, you haven't been in this position, or they ask about a specific player. And, and you only get a few questions because they have to get the other team in.
I thought we were fairly specific about that, but maybe we weren't.
I thought we were fair about it. Like, I think there's a lot of factors that go into that, and it's definitely a very different setting than a game at home where you've got a relationship with not just the people running everything, but the building as well. And got a little more leeway on nobody's coming in to play after you in 30 minutes or whatever. And usually the home team goes last. So if you're here, you have all the time that the SID will allow you to ask questions. And I do think, like, I don't know, I stand by, like, reading about X's and O's isn't always great. Like, that's not always great stories, like it's hard, I think, to write intelligibly about X's and O's when it's not an interactive conversation or there's not visuals.
Oh yeah,
or
you need
like
I don't even like doing that sometimes with football.
Yeah,
or like even pitch sequence.
Sure, yeah, because
without seeing it,
it's hard to it's hard to just keep in the Rolodex so you understand what people are talking about from moment to moment. Listen, I didn't really have a problem with the not asking a question about the zone. I understand people that wanted the question about the zone as well. I understand from a logistical standpoint, it doesn't always happen.
It's hard to do,
which is fine.
When you're talking about the weak chain, strong chain thing.
Yeah, that was a really good point by Sam. That was. I mean, it was a good point.
I understand.
You know why I asked the question, though, right?
Because when coaches get the credit versus players.
And why I clarified by sport also.
Yeah, because we don't do that with football.
No, because and he's right. The weak chain versus a strong chain is a good distinction.
We definitely don't do that with
football.
you
know what also changes? You know what also changes the outcome of close games in football? How good is Andy Reid at close games now?
Well, he's better with Mahomes.
How good is Bill Belichick in close games with Brady versus not with Brady?
Better.
Right?
As is his record.
Right. Like just in general, right? You could go down the line here and say, hey, when you've got one of those dudes, it overrides the coaching more often than not. Because being a quarterback in football is closer to being a strong chain than a weak chain, right? Like hard to overcome a disastrous quarterback if he's your weak link, right? Whereas if he's your strong link, that makes up for quite a bit. We've seen that over the course of however long in football. Now, the problem is, not the problem, the truth is most quarterbacks are medium links, and we want to think they're a strong link, and they're just not, right? But the reason I made that distinction is I find it really, really interesting that when we're talking about, hey, teams lose close games, and it's like, oh, well, we'll go everything from they're not tough enough to they aren't well coached to they don't execute down the stretch to they must not practice free throws. All of these different things, right? Oh, well, have they run those out of bounds plays before? Whatever the thing is, a lot of it goes to coaching. And I'm telling you, coaching is way more likely to get you to that spot of being in a close game that you're probably not as good as the other team than it is to get you over the top. Having better players is generally the thing that gets you over the top in basketball. It just is.
Although we see lots of cases where the best players don't win in hoops. We see it all the time.
Right. But, well, I think over a long period of time, that's not generally true. The best players of all time have won at a high, high level, and they always have. Like individual seasons and moments, yes, we see really great players lose.
So is it relative to the players that aren't at their level, or are we talking about a certain level? Because I don't hear the same fervor when talking about guys like Kevin Durant. Or
you do from me.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Well, you'll put KD with Curry.
Yeah, that's the only time he's ever won. So I think it is a detriment to his greatness that he hasn't figured out a way to win on his own.
But most times he's really, really good at, or he's usually the best player on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's also why, to me, he's an outlier historically. That's why Barkley gets hammered for that. That's why his name has escaped me. That's why Karl Malone gets hammered for that. Like the guys that are of that level get hammered for not having championships. Absolutely hammered for it. That's why LeBron has done his skip around the world thing, because he knows he had to win championships in order to even be considered in that category and not be a Karl Malone. But I mean, even on like a more.
So is Moss one of the greatest receivers of all time?
Yes. Yeah.
Should he, in a weak link sport, should he have won more?
I think it's really hard for a receiver to impact.
So there's levels to this.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yes, it is not binary. It is not weak link, strong link, like full stop. I think there are absolutely levels.
Carmelo's another good one.
Carmelo is a good one. We talk about him differently if he is able to lead one of those Denver or New York teams to a title, 100%. Because here's the argument I would make: is if KD doesn't latch on to 2 Curry titles, we talk about him a lot like we do Carmelo. That's what I think. I think without the titles, KD is a slightly better version of Carmelo. I think maybe we like how it looks a little bit better with KD, but I don't think they're entirely.
I don't know, man. You guys are going back to backs, like within a point of the scoring titles a lot. It feels like anecdotally
with Carmelo
and KD.
Yeah, I think they are very similar players. If Carmelo had ever had a Steph Curry he could have latched onto, we're having a very different conversation about his career, and vice versa.
So baseball would be what, as we currently have Nebraska ranked 24th in the country?
I think baseball is absolutely a weak link sport. You had Trout and Ohtani on the same team, and they couldn't make the playoffs.
Pitching.
Now, pitching's weird. Pitching is more like quarterback. It's a strong link position in a weak link sport.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can have an outsized impact on the outcome of this game as a pitcher versus...
Or coincidentally, which is probably where they factor in WAR, because you could be a guy like Skeens who gives yourself a chance to win every time you take the bump.
Absolutely.
It then is out of your hands.
Skeens on the Pirates is a perfect example of what I'm talking about with basketball coaches getting you close, right? Paul Skeens will get you close. Zach Greinke was a great example of this when he won a Cy Young with the Royals, right? When that was kind of the first time it's like, hey, maybe wins aren't the most important thing in a pitcher's resume. And you go, because I think he had like 11 or 13 wins that year when he won the Cy Young, was by far the least outside of like a reliever has won it a couple times. But you look at it, and Paul Skeens is going to put you in a position where you can win every single game he pitches. That's the coach in basketball getting you. That's Ben McCollum getting you in the neighborhood. Now, whether Bennett Sturts make shots or Koch or Fulgaris or whoever else Banks make shots, was O'Neal Cruz hitting today? You know, are we going to have Carl Griffin up early? Are we going to send him down to the minors to keep his clock going? You know what I mean? Like that's that version of that. So pitchers are strong links in a weak link sport.
Understood. And it makes sense. I think, and so football is really the one where we're willing to solely pin it on coaches most of the time.
That is why I wanted to make the distinction with Sam.
I understand.
Because we are way more willing, although I think we do it more in basketball than we should. I think we do it more. This was the argument with Fred a few years ago before they started winning, right? They're like, every shot they get is open. They just don't make any of them.
Yeah.
Right? We had this conversation. You're like,
it's what an amazing 180.
For Fred?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden you have guys that can make those shots, and you think we have a totally different view of the coach and the program and everything else.
Yeah,
I could make the argument,
and good on him for his resolve, because the same fans weren't always. But I think you understand that with the profession, right?
Sure,
because it could be real petty if you keep score as a coach.
Oh yeah, and it's almost never going to work out in your favor, even if you're right.
And it's just exhausting to always be complaining,
even if you're right
or keeping receipts.
It's still not going to help you.
Like the verbal.
Yes.
Yeah.
You start sounding like Mick Cronin and Dan Hurley in a hurry if you start keeping receipts on things like that. And I get listen, I'm a receipt keeper, so I get the tendency to want to. In a high profile job like that, it's not going to serve you very well.
Yeah. And you're probably not going to outlast
No.
You have to do it a while.
How many football coaches has Tom Chattel been here for?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Right? I think he started with Osborne, and we're still here. You know? And so I think there is, is there a bigger, I'm trying to decide between two guys here that have changed the fortune of, I brought him up before in Tominaga with Hoiberg and changing the fortune of this program. But in terms of taking a team from the Crown, I know Mast came back. I know Lawrence came back. I know the team is different. But in terms of going from the Crown to having to play a 9 seed to get to the Elite 8, is there been one singular player more important to any coach and what we think of them than Price Sanford?
God, recency bias.
I know it's hard. It's hard. We're in it right now. But for the way he coaches and for the looks his offense generates.
Yeah, the direct correlation of PSAN, yeah.
Like if you put a Big Ten average, I'm not even talking like a Big Ten average basketball player shoots like 35% from the 3-point line, whatever, right? If you replace Price Sanford with that average Big Ten basketball player, how much different does this Nebraska basketball team look?
Oh, that's an interesting one, Hot.
Oh, for Adrian T.O.?
Mm-hmm.
That is a good one. Because there is a pretty direct correlation there,
That's
too.
interesting.
In terms of how we view somebody based on the way the fit is with that specific player.
Mm-hmm.
Frazier's
and how clutch he was in crunch time.
Yeah. Frazier's a really good one.
Yeah, because remember when he put T. Fraze in the game, we're down 9.
Mm-hmm. What's that, Mike Grant? They replaces?
No, he came back in for Brooke.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking when he started.
During Miami.
Yeah. No, I was thinking when he...
Because you needed that game to get over the hump. Because that was the first.
Yeah. I was going way back when he first started.
Had the 2 electric runs on the drive, the one on third down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Schlesinger had the touchdowns, but T. Fraze had the 2 key options. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
now Sweet 16 national title. I mean, you could debate that till the cows come home, but the correlations.
That's a good call out.
That's a good pool.
That's a really good call out there. That one is probably as close. Now, here's the other question that I had heading into this Nebraska-Iowa game. And your Rolodex is better than mine. So that's why I wanted to ask you.
I don't know. We'll see.
Is there, I mean, this has to be the highest stakes of a Nebraska-Iowa game across any sport ever, right? It's never been this high in football.
Yes. Because even in 80, when Hayden Fry beat them, that was bigger stakes. Have they played for a Big Ten champion? No. Yeah, this is.
I don't even think they've played for a spot in the Big Ten West title.
So
for the
big bowl eligibility comes to mind.
Yes. But Elite 8 over bowl eligibility, right?
Significant. Yes. Yeah. This is the biggest one. Which
is, for as much as we already hate each other.
Yeah, this is the biggest one.
Like, that's pretty crazy.
And it's a rubber match, too.
This might be a hot take. If you have to play a team a third time, kind of glad they didn't win both of them. Unless you're like clearly.
Yeah, but you're the guy that says.
I know.
Hot take.
I know. I'm the guy that says, I want a team to win if they're on a long losing streak.
No, you're the guy that says, do you know when it's easy to beat a team 3 times in a row?
When you're better than
you're better than they are.
Do you I think these teams are close enough.
Yeah.
That I don't feel that way about. I think Nebraska is better. I don't think they're so much better than Iowa that I feel like, oh yeah, they would beat them 100 times out of 100.
And the Sweet 16 is like the mythical mark.
Yes.
It's like the line of coaching demarcation.
Absolutely. So I think they're like, I'm glad they didn't win the one in Iowa City.
Oh man, that's a hot take.
It might be, but you end up.
I just don't think like it's.
You don't think like that. I get it.
No, and so I respect it.
Here's the other part of it is there is zero chance. Not that they would anyway. But whatever minute percentage of an opportunity there was for Iowa to be overlooked if you had beaten them twice, that's gone forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you beat a team twice, sometimes, like, you know how it is. You beat a team twice, especially if you give it to them.
Yeah.
Like, if they were playing Wisconsin instead of Iowa and all you have is that belt to ass earlier in the year.
You go back. Nah, you don't have to because I don't know like what it'll mean for you. But you got to go back and watch that first game in Iowa City.
I'm trying to remember it. I mean, I watched it obviously.
I mean, and then the 4 minutes, the late 4 minutes, where it was probably more about. I don't know if it's necessarily Iowa's execution, but I mean, Nebraska. Am I misremembering? Didn't they have like a 4 or 5 point lead around the 4.5 minute mark?
I believe that's right.
51-46 or something like that.
I believe that's right.
And then Iowa goes on like a 7-0 run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be exactly what it is.
I believe that's right.
And it's like it just flipped. But game control, that's what I was talking about, game control in the first 2 games. But now you get 2 guys and their staffs that are
really good at this.
Amazing at the dry erase board.
Yeah, that's a scout, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Coming up with game plans.
But how much different can Iowa play?
So
who has more, like Nebraska has more variance.
Absolutely.
In terms of like what they can do.
What we saw against Florida is the only way Iowa can win basketball games. Full stop. They have to play like that because they are playing with Bennett Sturtz and a bunch of guys that don't belong in the Big Ten.
So they got the team's best performance, not the best shooting performance from Sturtz, but you love the way that he played.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They absolutely cannot win. Like,
so what if he's making shots? Like, are you saying like let Sturtz get his?
No, that's the problem with playing a guy like Sturtz is he's going to make the right decision. At the end of the game, how many people do you think thought Sturtz was taking that shot? Almost everybody.
Yep.
I, myself included, I'm not going to lie. When he passed that to the corner, I was like, oh, no, he did it again.
Yeah.
Because there was, and you saw it on the way they covered it because they bailed on it.
Yep.
They bailed on Fulkers in the corner because they thought that.
And the minute you saw when he turned the corner catching the inbounds,
yes. Like he was looking at him the whole time.
And my man just
Fulkers just goes straight
right
corner
to the corner, man.
Because he knew his man was going to stop Sturtz.
Yep, he's going to stop him. Yep.
You want to talk about execution, and we'll get to Isaac Trotter here in just a second. You want to talk about execution? That inbounds pass on that to Sturtz is really difficult to make. That's a hard pass. But to actually get him on the run and have his defender immediately behind him is what makes that play. Because then that guy does have to step up to stop ball because Sturtz can beat you.
Yeah. But to that point, Tiger, who says kind of the same thing with Price and Frigg, I'm glad Coach Hoiberg didn't call timeout because I'm
a no timeout guy.
Me too.
I'm a no timeout guy.
I'm consistent with that. I don't want you to have a chance.
Broken floor is going to be your best opportunity.
I'm a big no timeout.
I don't care.
And people kept running through. You see, Kansas, like people just kept running through them, and I was like, and then taking timeouts after a made free throw up.
Didn't Florida take a timeout?
Yeah.
What kind of look did they get? Oh wait, they didn't get shot up. Okay.
Was it 4-5?
Yeah, 4.5 seconds. That's a lot of time.
Are you an advanced ball guy?
No, I think it's cheap.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think
I'm not an advanced ball
guy. You didn't earn it. Like you didn't get there. Yeah. Why do I get it? Like you get to move the ball to half court just because you saved a timeout?
Yeah.
Idiotic. Now I will say it ends up making some pretty cool plays, but feels artificial.
Are you a guard the inbounds guy?
Yes, have to.
It's amazing how many teams don't.
Have to guard you can't give a guy a clean look. You cannot give a guy a clean look. The best opportunity you have to defend whatever they're trying to do is to make sure that guy doesn't have a clean look at who he wants to get the ball to.
Yeah, and to the timeout point, it was Florida used it like a timeout while the rest
he changed the clock
with the stoppage.
But they had a chance to set up and whatever.
So you know what happens in football? Like they only let you bring the guys to the hash.
Yeah.
Like you can't come out there.
But regardless of where,
which is different in hoops.
Yes, but
like
stoppage,
you can steal talking to your team like that.
To Josh's point, the stoppage prevented Florida from using a broken floor situation. So that's a fair point. Yeah. Let's take a quick break here. We're going to get to Isaac Trotter from 24/7 Sports, talk a little more NCAA tournament. That's DBM Ravi Lulla at Hurrdat Sports Live.
March into savings with Edwards Kia's March Mania lease special. Lease the 2025 Kia 4 EX starting at just $209 a month. A fresh new ride at an unbeatable price. This is what March Mania looks like. march into savings in a big way. Or lease the 2027 Kia Telluride S, starting at just $499 a month. Don't wait. March into savings right now at Edwards Kia.
Going into this tournament, if you want to advance, it's all about how you handle adversity. And our guys did a masterful job of hanging in there. Things weren't looking great, but it was still a 1 or 2 possession game. I think they got up 5 at one point, had a couple big putbacks, one by Sam, one by Rink, after not doing very much on the offensive glass all game. And then Price's play to Braden at the end of the game was just unbelievable with 9 seconds left. You know, it's the question, do you call the timeout? But I thought we had numbers, and they all ran at Price, probably rightfully so, with what he does offensively, and he just made a great play to Braden, and then Braden did the rest. So really proud of our guys, and that last shot, man, it just took my breath away. You know, that kid is an unbelievable player, and you know, when that thing was up in the air, I was like, oh man, that's going in, and then hit every part of the rim, thankfully bounced out, and you know, we're looking forward to next week getting the opportunity to continue to compete. Again, that's a really good team. They're a top 10 offense, and they're a top 30 defense. So for us to come out of here with a win is huge. A crowd, once again, was an unbelievable factor. I think they're all driving down to Houston in the morning, and we expect another big turnout again next weekend.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Ortega already has just etched his name in the March Madness lore.
This is going to be Darling. He's got to go.
Darling puts it up. St. John's is going to the Sweet 16.
Vanderbilt, no timeouts. Half court heave. Oh! Tanner in and out. And Nebraska is on to the Sweet 16.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Isaac Trotter of 24/7 Sport. Isaac, how are we doing this morning?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We got a little breaking news locally here right as you were coming on. Looks like Greg McDermott will finish up his coaching career at the Crown, and Al Huss will take over. We don't have to spend a ton of time on that because there's obviously a ton going on, but just quick thoughts there.
Interesting timing. You know, I think one thing we heard when Kansas State opened, that Kansas State was making a really big run at Huss and would have been really interested in getting him over. So maybe that was good negotiating by Huss's agent to make sure that this went through. But Mac is a legend at Creighton, and I feel like they're in good hands, though. I feel like Huss has been, I mean, he put the High Point team together. That's one of the best teams in mid-major basketball, and is obviously well regarded for his ability to recruit at a really, really high level. So it just feels like the same type of upside for Creighton, but we will miss Greg McDermott in college basketball, one of the good guys in the sport, and obviously kind of raised Creighton to a different level nationally than many people could have expected.
Yeah, it's interesting too, IT, because when High Point was playing and after they got beat and they were talking about the roster, I kept hearing and seeing, this is Husk's roster and he put it together, and fair, foul, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think the assumption made is the expectation was you were stepping into a new era anyway. So, the timing is interesting, but I think it may actually kind of be a shot in the arm because Husk doing this isn't a surprise. Like, we didn't know when, but the passing of the torch was coming.
The plan was in place.
Yeah.
The plan was certainly in place, but to be honest, remember like at Syracuse when like the plan was in place for a really long time for Jim Boeheim to step down and Mike Hopkins to take over? Like, it can kind of get weird if it takes too long. So I think just being on the same page, everybody on the same page here, it certainly helps things. I think eases the tension a little bit. And here's the thing, Huss is a killer on the recruiting trail, like an absolute killer. And so I think that Creighton's going to have a chance to bring in some really high-level players. And I think after this year, I think it's pretty clear, like, hey, like there needs to be a little bit of a talent upgrade. And I think that making this move now does give Huss a little bit of chance to head into free agency, kind of knowing what he needs to do and without any real questions about the future of what the program is. I'm curious to see how it works out, to be honest.
Isaac, let's get to the NCAA tournament here. Obviously, here in Nebraska, and it seems like nationally, Nebraska has been the huge story. As you kind of look at the national landscape here, well, like at what point? I know Nebraska's on the has the 20-0 start, but at what point over late in the season did you start to think like, hey, there's kind of a path here for Nebraska to make a Sweet 16 or maybe even further in the tournament?
Is it weird to say like when they beat BYU in the exhibition game in the beginning?
Oh, totally fair. Totally fair.
Not weird.
Like the way they played early, you're like, oh, like there's something a little bit different about this team. But I mean, to be honest, like BYU wasn't playing guys and that thing. We all understood that. To me, like it was probably beating Michigan State at home. Like I feel like the way that they beat that game, that they won that game, just kind of like just out physicaled a really, really good Spartans team. Gave me a little bit of like, man, this team is for real. And even during like that, like not to play revisionist history, but even during when it kind of got a little bit off the trails there down the stretch. If you're a Nebraska fan, you're looking at it going like, well, we lost to Michigan and they're a Sweet 16 team, and we lost to Illinois and they're a Sweet 16 team, and we lost to Purdue and that's a Sweet 16 team, and now we lost to Iowa and that's a Sweet 16 team, and like then we lost to UCLA, who was around a 32 team. So like even their losses have aged well. But my biggest takeaway, I think, with this group is just like Fred Hoiberg has squeezed the absolute most out of this roster. I think that's the beauty of coaching, is like, what do you have and what can you absolutely get the most out of it? And I feel like Nebraska has reached this 99th percentile outcome because of the buy-in up and down the roster is pretty apparent.
And so it's interesting because that's a national perspective of a guy that watches a lot of hoops versus the local feel in terms of how this roster was built, IT, because in one hand, you're spot on. They're absolutely maximizing. But on the other hand, it's the specifics of how the roster was put together to make it work like this has to be intentional. Like this style and why they're good isn't going to be for everybody. You know what I mean? So it's like the yin and the yang, or the give and the take there, is fascinating.
Did anybody in the preseason think that Nebraska would be number 6 in defensive efficiency at this point in the season?
Exactly.
No.
Like, no. That's almost maybe the biggest surprise to me. It's like not just that they're good defensively, it's that they're great defensively. And they have executed their plan really, really well. I think a lot of people knew like, hey, Nebraska's like no middle defense is tough. Like it was a smart scheme, but like Berke Banyuktinsel has turned into an amazing defensive type of big man. And then Sam Hoiberg has legitimately elevated himself into one of the, 99th percentile defenders in college basketball, as weird as that sounds. But like, I don't think you could look at this roster and be like, yeah, that's a top 10 defense, let alone 6th. So the fact that they're here and it's legit and none of it is fake at all, and they force a ton of tough shots. Like I hate the narrative with Nebraska of like, well, they give up so many threes, so that could mean that they're open to like getting beat and it's a high variance game. Like, well, look, they don't. Like they leave you with threes. They're contested threes at the end of the shot clock a lot that you have to take like that with a guy's hand in your face. Like that's a That's a win for the defense to force those type of shots. So there's a little bit of nuance there that's below the surface.
As you're kind of looking at the tournament in general, I'm listening to the intro there, and so much happened this weekend that I completely forgot about the Santa Clara, Kentucky game and how that all went down. In terms of just pure entertainment value, obviously Nebraska, Vandy's way up on that list. Iowa, Florida, way up on that list. Kentucky, Santa Clara, way up on that list. Just pure entertainment. I'm a basketball nerd. I love this game. I love this tournament. Like, what was your favorite game from the first 2 rounds?
Nebraska, Vandy, no question. That was number one for me with a bullet. Partially because I thought the shot making was outstanding. There were multiple stretches there in that second half where both teams had basically made 6 shots in a row. So it was just like haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. The crowd was a certainly huge part of that. Like, that was the best crowd in the NCAA tournament, bar none. Like, no questions asked. I turned to somebody during the game. I'm like, is this an Oklahoma City Thunder playoff game? Like, that's how it felt, like, with how loud it was in OKC. And just the way it ended is an iconic ending for 2 teams that, again, like, both of these teams have been, they're not the richest teams in college basketball. They're not loaded with 5-star talent or the number 1 transfer, but, like, their pieces just fit. And the ROI on guys like Price Sanford and Tyler Tanner is through the roof. Like, both of those guys have turned into way, way better players than anybody would have predicted in the preseason or what they were paid at, right? Like, their pay slot coming into this season. And it was really cool to have that moment, I think, for both of those fan bases. Second for me was Santa Clara, Kentucky. That was an unbelievable game. And honestly, third, I will say, Iowa, you're right. That'd be third. But fourth, I thought SLU, Michigan was a really, really fun game. Both those teams were that was high-level basketball from both of those 2 teams, even in a game that Michigan ran away with it.
Isn't it amazing how it just at like this magical
I'll say for like 30 minutes, that game was incredible.
SLU just like ran out of gas.
Yeah.
It seemed, or Michigan's offensive efficiency was that they just couldn't keep up. But all of a sudden, there was this huge disparity in a game that was like back and forth.
It was awesome. Yeah, running out of gas is the best way to describe it, because that's happened to almost every single team that's played Michigan this year.
Yeah.
I mean, think back to the Nebraska game, right? Like, Nebraska has, like, they're just shredding them to death, and then they just don't score for 4.5 minutes to end the game. Like, that's just kind of how the Michigan experience works. But both of those coaches, Josh Hurts and Dusty May, are, like, I feel like kind of at the cutting edge of, like, what makes good offenses. And there's just so many plus passers on the floor at one time. I felt like 8 or 9 guys that were playing in that game could make reads with or without the ball. They know how to move without the ball as well. And so the ball movement, the cutting was outstanding. And I thought SLU was completely unafraid. Like, Kellen Thames, like, in transition, he sees a Damara, the most fearsome rim protector. He's like, I'll go dunk on his head. Like, that, just like that type of mentality that SLU had was impressive. And I felt bad, honestly, for SLU and Utah State specifically. I thought those 2 teams were really, really good mid-majors who got horrible draws and just had to play Arizona and Michigan in the second round. If they're playing Duke or Florida or any of these 2 seeds, I think we're having a different conversation here in the second weekend, because one of those 2 teams probably makes it to the Sweet 16, and the death of the mid-major isn't being lamented on every national show that you hear for the next 4 days.
I'm going to get to the pups in a minute, but of the old guys, what senior has to have the best performance going forward for his team to have success? Jacoby Gillespie or Alex Caravan?
Oh, man, that's a great one. For me, I think it is Gillespie. There's so much on his shoulders, I think, for that Tennessee team. I think with Caravan, he can kind of like settle into the cracks a little bit and kind of just settle into the game and impact the game in a lot of different ways. Tennessee, I just don't know if they can beat Iowa State without Gillespie making strong decisions. Now, I don't necessarily need him to score, but he just can't turn the basketball over against that constant, never-ending pressure from Killian Toure and just the blitzing that Iowa State will do with their defense. So Gillespie has been awesome this year. I think I loved him at Belmont. I fell in love with him even more at Maryland. I thought he was great there, but he's somehow like turned into a different level at Tennessee, because their supporting cast, like, honestly isn't special, right? Like, there's not like awesome. Right. And so it's like he has so much on his plate, and the fact that he's still being able to be this productive and this efficient at this level is high level. Him against Lipsy, Taman Lipsy, is like a matchup of like 2 point guards who have gotten the most out of their careers. Both those guys have just worked their way into becoming really, really good college basketball players. And it's fun that they get to go at it for a chance to go to the Elite Eight.
Every time Lipsy runs and moves, it hurts me. Like he's battle tested. It never seems like he's healthy. He's played a ton of games. He's been hurt a ton too. It's like Lipsy is their ability to just I told Ravi yesterday, they give me the only other team that I've seen like legitimately against good teams, and I speak specifically to some of Duke's early performances when they were winning every game by like 25, 26 points. What they did to Virginia and Cameron at the end of the ACC regular season, where they can just shut your water off. Iowa State's the only team that gives me similar vibes that can literally just turn your water off, and it's like we can't score.
I completely agree with you. Like, how many good shots did Kentucky get yesterday? Like,
they were, yeah.
like it was like Colin Chandler had those 2 right corner or left corner threes, I think, in the first, like before the first media timeout that were open. And then after that, it was just like the next hour of real time, like Iowa State just everywhere, swarming. I thought that they were just super dialed into the scouting report. And yeah, I think there's like this phrase that certain offensive coordinators go around. It's like a good shot, like an open shot, or a free throw is like a gold medal possession. A silver medal possession is like a open-ish shot. And then a bronze medal possession is like, a contested shot. And then there's like a turnover, which is no medal. Like I was thinking about like how many gold medal possessions did Kentucky have yesterday? And I think it was probably like closer to 3 or 4. And that just speaks a lot to the type of team that Iowa State has done. And they executed their plan so well yesterday. And I would have felt horrible if that group didn't get to go to the Sweet 16, like even without Joshua Jefferson. Like Iowa State's a Sweet 16 team. Like they've earned the right to play in the Sweet 16 all year long. And I feel like it's pretty fitting that they get to go to the second weekend, even with Jefferson banged up.
Who do you like the best out of those 2 seeds?
Yeah, it's weird. I think for me, like all of them you can talk yourself into flaws for, right? Like UConn can't make open shots right now. Iowa State, obviously without Jefferson, the half-court offense just isn't going to be at that different level. Houston, they just don't take enough shots at the rim. Purdue, not the most athletic. So for me, I do think is Houston, even though I think they have the hardest game coming up in the Sweet 16. Like Illinois, Houston is a pretty high-level game for both those teams that have, 99-mile-an-hour fastballs on the black, to use a baseball reference. But I still think that Houston backcourt is just a better version than anything else that the other two seeds have. Kingston Flemings, Milos Uzan, Emmanuel Sharp can really go. All 3 of those guys can play defense too, and all 3 of those guys can play on or off the ball, which I like. So they just kind of mix together really well. But I also think Houston's done a good job of like improving their depth. Like Isaiah Harwell was like a 5-star prospect who was like their 4th guard. They've kind of removed him from the rotation, moved Mercy Miller into the mix. Chase McCarty's starting to play a little bit better. So like for long stretches, I felt like Houston was like, they had like 5 guys, maybe 6 that they trusted. Now I think it's might be closer to 7 or 8. And that's a pretty big development for Kelvin Sampson's bunch. So give me Houston out of those 2 seeds, but Houston, Illinois is like heavyweight fight.
So Purdue yesterday missed 1 free throw, and I think they shot almost 60% from 3. And it was, I wouldn't call it nip and tuck, but it was, again, 10 points. I think Miami only scored 29 points in the second half. Should that warrant a different performance from Purdue, or are we just winning and moving on? Those offensive numbers are incredible for a 79-point mark.
Yeah. I felt like Miami had a missed opportunity to win that game yesterday. I thought Malik Renew missed some really, really good looks at the rim that if they go in, like they're there. Miami just a little bit limited offensively, right? Like you kind of look at their personnel and they're really strong. They're really athletic. They're big inside, but I felt like they were maybe 1 shot maker away from putting a little bit of extra pressure. And they missed some open threes down the stretch there that could have gotten them over the hump. But if Renew makes some of his shots at the basket and finishes through contact better, I do think we're having a different conversation. I do think Purdue, though, gives Texas a ton of problems just schematically. Texas loves to play drop coverage, and that's just like the worst strategy against Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn in pick and rolls. I feel like Braden Smith's going to be able to get to his pull-up whenever he wants. Trey Kaufman-Renn, he's going to be able to find him on the short roll whenever he wants. So I'd just be surprised if Purdue is not in the Elite Eight. I think they're just a better team than Texas on both ends of the floor. And they're going to have a chance to go to the Elite Eight. But I think their lack of athleticism will come back to bite them. Like Arizona, Purdue feels like a terrible matchup for Purdue. And if it's Arizona or if it's Arkansas, Purdue, same type of deal. I just feel like Arkansas could overwhelm them.
It's interesting too, because as much as Texas likes to foul, Purdue was 21 of 22 behind the arc or from the stripe yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm like. I was kind of like looking through all the numbers. I'm like, how does Texas get a stop? Like, they're either going to foul them and they're going to go to the line, make 2 free throws. They're going to give up an open Braden Smith pull-up. They're going to give up an open Trey Kaufman-Renn floater. Like, you can I just don't know how they get a stop. Then if they try to load up on that, like they'll have
lawyers getting the kick or car.
100%.
Like somebody's.
He's
going to hold that. He's going to crab dribble that thing off the pick and off the drop, and somebody's getting a good look.
It feels like Texas is basically just like praying to the basketball gods that like Purdue just misses open shots. That's their best bet to winning basketball, that game and keeping Purdue under wraps. So yeah, that's a tough draw for Texas. But I mean, they're happy to be here, right? Happy to be in the second weekend after winning 3 games in 5 days.
We talked about earlier kind of the Sweet 16 being the line of demarcation for coaches. It seems to work for everybody but Sean Miller, right? I mean, he did it twice with Xavier. He's got Texas here in year 1. He's a Sweet 16 coach. Are we missing something with Miller?
Yeah, I think there's just like I think Sean Miller's actually a really, really good basketball coach. Just some of the off-court stuff that he's had to deal with, obviously with the show clauses and everything that went down with Arizona has certainly soured how people feel about him. The exit at Xavier certainly soured some things as well, too, for obvious reasons, right? Like Xavier thought that, hey, we gave you this huge second chance. We invested in you, and then you dip the moment that you can for a big job like that. I could see how that rubbed them the wrong way. But Sean Miller, like for X's and O's wise, is a really, really good coach. And I think he's used defense to build good teams. He's used offense to build good teams. And I think like Texas's resources that they have, amazing facility, amazing home court there too. Like I know it's a football school, but they're going to have enough money to be a factor, I think, in the SEC moving forward. This feels just like the start for Sean Miller there. Like there's a reason why he left Xavier for Texas. Like he feels like there's a higher ceiling at Texas and it's hard to argue. And if they get the high level talent that Sean Miller's always recruited, Texas is going to have a lot of bites at the apple to make the second weekend over and over again.
Isn't that part of the reason we judge guys like Sean Miller more harshly though, is because we're like, he gets all this talent. Like there's a sort of a curve that the Sweet 16 scale is like, if Fred Hoiberg or Ben McCollum consistently make a Sweet 16, you're like, oh man, that's incredible. Like, look what they're doing. If Sean Miller and John Shire are making Sweet 16s, we're going to be like, that's all you're doing?
Right. Yeah. All jobs are not created equal. And that's the same thing like with Kentucky. Like, was Kentucky super thrilled with making the Sweet 16 last year? Like, yeah, it was great, I guess. But then like immediately they lose to Tennessee and it's frustrating. Same type of deal again this year. Like they make the second round and like don't advance. And like, Mark Pope is obviously going to head into year 3 with a lot of pressure. So you're right. Like not all jobs are created equal. I think Iowa, the fact that they're in the Sweet 16 is unbelievable. I think, however far Iowa City and Champaign are, like Illinois being in the second weekend feels like, hey, this is what we're supposed to do with a draw like this. And it feels like Illinois' entire seasons, like if this is a success or a failure, it might come down to beating Houston, as weird as that sounds. And it just kind of does show you that like expectations are different for all of these different places.
Isaac, let me ask you, all the star-studded freshmen, and they're, I mean, outside of, well, there's a couple of shaky performances. I think Ament was 1 of 16 coming into yesterday's game, but the most underappreciated, it could go around, but you have to explain to me how it isn't Burries when we're talking about like freshman prowess and what he's capable of.
I don't get it. I think he's awesome. I think he is awesome. I maybe our first, like, what's that first impression of him wasn't high enough, right? Like he had that little bit of a slow start. So people just like kind of buried him a little bit from the beginning because he just wasn't a huge part of some of Arizona's pretty big non-conference showings. But he is old, right? I think he's 20 years old. So one of the older freshmen in this class. and tough, smart, dependable, makes shots, makes catch and shoot threes, great cutter, like good defensive player. I like how he rebounds for his position, unselfish. Like that's kind of why I picked Arizona to win the title, because I felt like Burries is elevated from like a good college player to like a legit, like he's a lottery pick. Like he is the best NBA prospect on that team, I think, in my opinion. And you need that. You need that type of surge. And he's been great. He's been great. And all of the high school evaluators that I talked to, like, told me it was going to come. Like, they were all, like, obsessed with Braden Burries, too, just because of the type of game he has. So it is cool to see them get proven right a little bit for a guy that, objectively, everyone says he's a really good dude. But he's played a really mature brand of basketball and just stuck with it early through the struggles and being rewarded with an outstanding freshman season.
All right. Before I ask you about some potential job openings, what matchup, it sounds like it might be Illinois-Houston, but I don't want to speak for you. What matchup are you most excited about for the Sweet 16?
Honestly, mine is just the referees against Tom Izzo and Dan Hurley. I think like that's buckle up, boys, for 2 hours of that. Like that's gonna be a sight. Yeah, I my eyes kind of drifted to that East region, right? Like Duke and St. John's, just an absolute cage match in the paint between Zuby Ejiofor and Cameron Boozer, and then same type of deal with Michigan State UConn. Like Michigan State has been an awesome story this year, but like, can they get over the hump against this UConn team? But like, UConn hasn't really been all that impressive lately either. So like, what kind of gives in that type of showing on that stage? So that's a high level game. Honestly, here's the other one too. If you're picking a team that can beat Michigan before the Final Four, it probably looks a lot like what Alabama can do, just because like the numbers that they can put up from three, like that's what you have. Like, Michigan beats Alabama like 8 out of 10 times, but do we get that 20% outcome in that Sweet 16 game where Alabama just goes absolutely bonkers from 3-point range and makes 15, 16 threes? Michigan makes like 6, and that gap, like a 27-point gap from the 3-point stripe, kind of tilts the scales there. So there's a lot of great games in the Sweet 16, but yeah, like Alabama, Michigan, and I'll get to go to that one, so maybe I'm a little bit more biased about it. That's one I'm really excited for, because if you catch Alabama on the wrong night, they can beat anybody.
There's a lot of pressure on point guards in some of these matchups. How important do you think it is for Usain Milos to kind of be the and I get the Flemings, I get Kingston Flemings, right? He can defer, but Milos has these stretches. He dribbles a ton. He allows Kingston to get off the ball. Decision making for Milos is kind of a thing. Give me an X factor in that Houston matchup from the Houston side.
Yeah, so like Milos misses a lot of open shots.
Yes, man.
Like there's a lot of open shots that he gets that he just misses, and so like at some point, got to make them. And like just have to. And here's the other thing too. I think Illinois has one really good point of attack defender that it trusts in Kylan Boswell. So that I think he'll probably end up taking Kingston Flemings. So like that gives Milos Usain against a Jake Davis, against a Benham Rickhouse, against an Andrei Stojakovic when he's on the floor. Like he's got to win that matchup. Like he just has to. And Illinois plays a lot of drop coverage for them. Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. And so like Illinois plays a lot of drop coverage, so Usain's going to be able to get to the middle of the floor. Like he's got to hit that floater consistently. He has to make good decisions. But like, yeah, every time I watch Milos, like I like him, but he feels like he leaves me wanting a little bit more sometimes as well. But if Houston gets a good Milos Usain game, they're beating Illinois, because I think that feels like the swing factor there. Because Illinois has like 6 guys who can score. Sometimes with Houston, it feels like they only have 3. And if they get all 3 going, like that's when I think Houston's at its most dangerous.
Of the high level, like star-studded matchups, perhaps how that game is officiated is the most important, because Illinois is highly skilled. The European style offense, they don't really enjoy being touched, and Houston is clingy. So like how that game is officiated, because Tugler needs to stay out of foul trouble with how Illinois can use their front line, and he's versatile. How that game's officiated is going to be crucial.
Yeah, I think it'll be World War III on the glass too, because Illinois is going to go for every offensive rebound. That's kind of what they
13
do.
13 a night.
Yep. And then Houston, just like the blockouts there too. Like there's going to be some real contact on those offensive and defensive line drills type of deal. And I'm curious to see if JoJo does stay out of foul trouble, if Tugler stays out of foul trouble, that is a huge swing factor, not just defensively, but also offensively. Cause like Houston's offensive rebound rate drops dramatically when Tugler's off the floor, and they need those second chance opportunities to really kind of bolster their offense that can take a lot of tough shots. So that Tugler is going to be huge. I also think Chris Senack against David Mirkovic is like an awesome little subplot in that game too. Both those freshman forwards, when you catch them on a great night, like you're like, man, these dudes are unbelievable. They can also kind of have AWOL moments as well. I think whichever freshman forward plays well in that head-to-head matchup, their team probably wins.
All right, two-part question here. Do you think Hubert Davis is the coach at North Carolina next year? And if not, who are your top couple of candidates to take that job?
Yeah, I think it's over. I think the writing's on the wall there. I would not be surprised if he resigns today, as early as today. And then you kind of start thinking about the list. I think Carolina, you could make a case they haven't really hit the coaching carousel in 70 years. Like it's always kind of had a guy that they've been linked to for a long time. I think they have to go outside the family for the first time. And so the names that I would keep an eye on are Billy Donovan. I think there's real questions about if he wants to stay with the Bulls long term and if he would be intrigued by coming back to college basketball. So that's a name there. TJ Otzelberger's obviously
tank right. Like
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to play the Heat in the play-in every single year, or you want to go try to beat Duke? So Billy Donovan's going to be on the list. I think TJ Otzelberger will certainly be on the list. His buyout is a little bit lower, and finances are obviously a huge part of college basketball right now. And you're talking about Otzelberger's buyouts, I think in the $4 million range. That's much more attractive than like a Nate Oates, who's in like the $16 million range. Tommy Lloyd will be in that mix. I would also give Dusty May a call. I would be trying to see what's up there with Dusty May. So you're talking about the biggest and best names. I think Todd Golden is also going to be on that list too. I just don't see him leaving Florida. But for me, it's like it's Donovan.
What about Byington?
Pardon me, what'd you say?
What about Byington? He's a North Carolina guy, but
so Byington's I'm glad you brought that up. I think Byington's an awesome backup plan. Like I don't think he would like win the press conference or like, wow, what an awesome, amazing hire. But I think he'd win basketball games, and I think he's proven that, like with his ability to. I mean, the type of jobs that he's had, he's basically helped Vanderbilt become the best version of itself, helped James Madison become the best versions of itself, like go all the way down the list. Like he's a program builder, and I do think that would work at Carolina. But I think they're aiming even higher.
Now, I'm a Carolina Hawk for 46 years almost as a 51-year-old. So I say this with my glass half full. It does seem like you hear, maybe it's what I want, but Jay Wright, I get, has had no interest, right? He's been in the booth. He's got a great gig. He gets to look sweet, be smart. But then got to go to a lot of fundraising dinners in Chapel Hill to play this game. But this many years removed, would you still break off a call to Jay Wright?
I think maybe. Yeah. I mean, just give it a chance. I don't think he'd pull the trigger on it. I don't. I think that the other name that they would definitely make a call for is like Grant McCasland. I think for me, like I kind of want somebody who's been in the fight a little bit more.
He had some good. I like his in-game interviews are pretty good. Mm-hmm. Like even yesterday, where they were down 15, and he's like, "Look, we're just not very tough. It's like if we're not tougher, this is only going to get worse. So I'm going to implore my guys to get tougher. We're getting beat up. Like he's really good like that, where he's pretty matter of fact."
And like he's an amazing roster builder for the most part. Like he's a former JUCO guy, so he's got used to flipping the roster over and over again. So they do a good job of scouting. Now, here's the one problem: like he's a West Texas like lifer. I don't know if you guys know this. He has like a farm with like donkeys and like burros and everything. That like are we taking all the donkeys, all the farm animals, all the way over to Chapel Hill? Like I don't know about that. Like that's like maybe my hold up with Grant McCasland. Also, do you really want to get into a bidding war with Texas Tech? Like I don't know about that either. Like Texas Tech has the oil money runs deep there as well. So there's good names here on this list, but you're right. Like I feel like for me, the top names are Otzelberger, Dusty May, Billy Donovan. And if those three names don't come together, then I think you're looking at a Mark Byington at Vanderbilt.
Where does Tommy Lloyd fit in the hierarchy?
I think Tommy Lloyd would be a slam dunk for Carolina. That would be like number one.
He gets dudes.
Really good ties to Team USA too, right? So like he gets to have a little bit more FaceTime with some of those guys. Awesome X's and O's every year. Their double big lineup, I think, would resonate with Carolina people, right? Like that's kind of what his staple of his games is. A really high floor every year because like they recruit just so much raw size and power. So I think he would go toe to toe with John Shire without a question. I just am curious, like would he leave the West Coast and kind of been on that side of the country all year? And Arizona's like kind of in a good spot too. Like they have good resources. They're in a really good league. Like it feels like they have a lot kind of going for them right there. So to pack up and head to Chapel Hill would be tough. And again, you're talking about like a $30 million decision if you go for Tommy Lloyd, because that's like a $10 million buyout for him, $5 million buyout for Hubert. Huge contract you have to hand Tommy Lloyd. $3 million to try to get Koa Pete to transfer, $3 million to keep Henry Vasar in the mix, another more money to like get the roster. Like it's $30 million. Like it's big money.
I would just hope that a tough guy like Pete wouldn't kill Vasar, who comes and goes with his toughness every handful of days. Like
maybe teach him how to be tough.
I need some of that Pete to rub off on Vasar.
Pete and Vasar together would be a 1-2 punch, though. That could really work, wouldn't it? Not to talk too much about free agency, but yeah.
Isaac, we appreciate the time. Great stuff. Enjoy the next couple rounds of the tournament. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks,
of course, guys. Thanks for having me.
That's Isaac Trotter from 24/7 Sports. Take a quick break here. What you got?
No, BP was like a cup greater than Burries. That's not a hot take. I don't think
so either. I mean,
my point about Burries is he's right there. Like,
yeah, and
you don't like
the talent.
People don't. He's not for as good as he is, and he doesn't make the splashy plays like A cup.
Yeah,
but he's a significantly better defender. That's not even close. But he's just not as flashy as a Flemings or an A cup. But he's a big, strong, mature guard who's a lot of 8s. He may not be a 10
at anything,
but he's a lot of 8s, man. Burries is pretty sweet.
I'll say you might be a better defender than Acuff, but we'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Edwards Hyundai. Save up to $7,000 off MSRP on the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy all-wheel drive. March Mania deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Score big with these savings. Or finance the 2026 Hyundai Tucson SE all-wheel drive at 0% for 72 months, starting at just $461 a month. Getaway deals this good won't last. Head to Edwards Hyundai today.
Like the feelings were awful. Awful, great, awful, great. They scoring, us scoring, they scoring, us scoring. Then Frager made the layup. I get in. I was like, you remember UCLA against Gonzaga. I don't know if anyone who remembers it, but oh my gosh. I think Jalen Suggs made that half-court shot. I was thinking, like, when number 3 hits that shot, I was just like thinking the same thing. I hope that's not going out like that. Let's not go home from that shot. And thank God we are blessed about that shot and just so happy. Huge respect to number 3 and Vanderbilt, all the team. They are a great team. They are the far best 5th seeds that we have. We play in. Just huge respect.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Inside of 90 seconds. Up top, Mast from downtown. Look at Hoiberg, the smallest man on the floor. Big no. Rebound to Sanford. Final 8 seconds. Fred Hoiberg's going to let him play it out. Frager! Timeout! 2.2 to go. Vanderbilt, no timeouts. Half court heave. Oh! Tanner in and out. And Nebraska is on to the Sweet 16.
How does this feel to send Nebraska to the first ever Sweet 16?
It's unbelievable. Definitely best birthday yet. But I mean, look at this crowd. Everyone is still here. They're going to be here for a while. Unbelievable the support we have. And doing it for them is what makes this so special.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. When I was listening to that the first time this morning, for the first like 30 seconds until he said it was his birthday, I was like, I thought that was Fred. Fred and Sam sound so much alike.
Talking.
It's unreal.
Same person.
Yeah, pretty much.
The
might be similar personality types too.
The funny thing about that whole exchange of the back and forth, who can't even figure out who hit the toughest shot.
Ooh, okay.
There was such good shot making in that back and forth down the stretch. It was like,
yeah,
serious stones.
No, absolutely. And I was super impressed. And Sam kind of talked about this a little bit, and somebody brought up, he's talking about the layups that Nebraska got late. And somebody was like, well, to be fair, that a few of them came off offensive rebounds, which is fine. Like they were taking some jumpers, but I was really impressed that Nebraska found a way to score and win with those jumpers not going in.
Yep.
Right.
Well, 38 points in the paint. That was the equalizer, right?
Right. And so that to me was something we haven't seen from them late in the season, being able to score without the jumpers. We saw it early. And to be fair, it didn't look like it did early in the season either, where it was the cutting and the passing and just traditional layups. They kind of got it the grimy way on Saturday. And so that's appreciative, especially like if there's one thing that concerns me at all about Nebraska basketball is the last like third of the season probably didn't get enough easy looks.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can generate,
even though I was talking about the layups, remember the last 3 games where it was 15, 15, and 17 respectively for the layups. So you could see they were trying. I just don't think we were as excited about it because we didn't love the caliber of competition.
I also didn't love how they were getting to it necessarily, right? Like it felt like a lot of, I think when Nebraska was at their best, it was more ball movement, less dribble penetration. You need that obviously as part of the equation, but Nebraska doesn't have a ton of guys. Now, Sam's way better at getting to the hoop than we give him credit for, right? We know what Frager is going left. Kale has his moments against the right matchups where he's good getting to the hoop. But it doesn't feel like Nebraska has a guy like Tanner where you're like, oh, he's going to get to whatever spot he wants on whatever possession he wants to. So that makes it a little uncomfortable for me sometimes.
You think we'll be seeing nightmares of Koch like he did against Nebraska the first time around or second time around with corner threes on that comeback, especially when Iowa mounted the comeback at PBA?
I do not. I think
he's not afraid to shoot that thing.
He's not, but I'm very confident in the game plans that
it's going to be fascinating.
Hoiberg and Lenzer are going to come up with.
Fascinating.
Because
don't forget about our guy.
Oh, yeah.
Big
Ziegler.
Z.
I'm sorry. Listen, Like,
I
know you like him. That's fine.
Plus, you watch him like in the huddles and stuff coming out of.
No, he's obviously an important part of what they do.
Man, they're out about like.
I think a lot of the scouting falls on Coach Lenzer, though.
Big Z guy.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I get it.
A lot of the scouting falls on Coach Nate.
Yeah, and that's my
and he's incredible at it. As well, it should fall on Coach Nate. He's so good at it.
Yeah, he's a stud.
I mean, the level of the level of attention to detail and ability to come up with a game plan is off the charts. I'm just fascinated to see how this plays out with Iowa, because the level of energy in that building is going to be that's going to be intense from the jump. I just don't even know. I don't even know what it's going to I don't even have anything to compare to what it's going to feel like, because it's Iowa, right? You generally don't get that with maybe Colorado, Nebraska 2 years ago in football. Maybe that level of sort of energy and tension and anxiety almost, because Nebraska was desperate to win that football game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair term. I feel like Nebraska fans at the very least are going to be desperate to beat Iowa in this game. And was it Rico? Were you saying it earlier when you were talking about Iowa being in this game gives you a better chance to win, but it's going to hurt way worse if they lose?
Yeah, I said that you've already proven that you can beat Iowa, but you can also lose to Iowa. And losing to Florida, I mean, you lose to Florida, whatever, they're defending national champions, they go to the Elite Eight, whatever, Nebraska had a great run. But if you lose to Iowa, you had a great run to the Sweet 16, but if you lose to Iowa, the bragging rights forever. Iowa beats Nebraska to move on to the Elite Eight. That's going to be a tough one to overcome.
Yeah, I do think it's the level.
I don't even like the way you sound right now.
I don't think I think Nebraska's going to win, but
I don't even
if they don't, that's tough.
Well, we got to keep the K-State jersey where it's at for a little while longer, because apparently that's
you haven't lost enough, Rico.
I've lost.
That's your problem.
Nebraska will win.
You haven't lost.
They have to win.
You got to play ball, man.
So, Austin,
you lose enough.
Oh, I've won. I've lost plenty. That's why I'm not PP tucking. I'm be like, they're just going to talk crazy to us. People have talked reckless to me before. I see you. That's you got. You have. You have to have people treat you bad more.
People.
You just line it. You just got to
people.
Take on the chin and
people treat me terribly. It's fine.
Oh,
it's okay. I'm used to it
around here.
I don't care. If Nebraska loses to Iowa, Iowa's gonna be talking trash. I don't care.
We'll be giving it right back to them, huh, Suave?
Yeah, 100%. But the hardcore Nebraska basketball fans that have been just trashing Iowa for the longest, that's gonna be tough.
What do you think the scene's like in Houston compared to OKC?
I mean, I don't put anything past Nebraska fans. If they want to pony up more money and find tickets, they will. But hard to replicate the 4-day takeover in OKC.
Unbelievable. It's one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen from a fan base.
And I will say this. My mom's from Houston, spent enough time in Houston just for whatever the reason. That traffic is not Bricktown.
No, it's the worst.
It is.
Driving around Houston.
It's top 6, 7 worst places of the big cities in the entire country. I can think of Atlanta, certainly New York, just at both of those places. Houston is right there.
I haven't really driven in New York.
Houston is right there.
But the two I was thinking is, I think Atlanta's worse. I think LA's about the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Houston's a nightmare to get around.
Spent plenty of time with my sister in Oakland. It's you're right. It definitely belongs in the discussion. I think Houston is slept on for traffic. It's miserable.
Here's the other.
It is. So it's not as user friendly. I mean, OKC folks were just it's a good walk town.
OKC's a little Omaha-y. It's pretty navigable.
It's a good walk town.
The other thing about Houston in terms of getting around that is underrated is be careful where you're booking your hotels, because you might be a 2-hour drive from the stadium. even without traffic.
No,
like, if you're in the wrong suburb,
yeah,
trying to get a little bit cheaper away from downtown, you very well could be 90 minutes or more away from your destination. So, like, it is just a massive, like, from northwest Houston to southeast Houston is a full 2 hours without traffic.
Yeah. So the funny thing about one of our coaches had just spent time in Chicago, and we landed at LaGuardia at 3:50. It's needless to say that's Friday afternoon traffic.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
People getting right off work. Yeah,
my man was like, "Yeah, this place has Chicago smoked," because he was just in Chicago. So for even as horrible as Chicago is, it ain't got nothing on New York.
I don't think Chicago's nearly as bad. Like,
it's pretty bad though.
I've driven in Chicago pretty recently.
Narrow streets, people get to park on the street. Like,
I will say,
it's tough.
I rolled into Chicago a couple of years ago mistakenly at about the same time you rolled into New York, and it wasn't the traffic, it was the pedestrians.
Yeah,
that made it a nightmare. Like, navigating downtown Chicago.
You definitely have to drive a certain way. I mean, we were getting cut off by like mini semis.
Yeah.
Like, if they wanted in, like, they just, I mean, that's just how you have to
drive.
Yeah,
you just got to go.
There's no
gaps.
Yeah.
Like, you got to create your own.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you got to be up on folks.
Yeah. No, it is I will say, and maybe this is,
Houston, it's just not a,
maybe this is,
it's a terrible city.
Oh, it's
traffic.
Awful. Maybe this is me reading too much into it. I did feel like with out of town plates, people gave me a little leeway in Chicago.
Did they?
I felt like they helped me out a little
Midwestern
bit.
enough?
I thought so. Like, honestly, I really did.
There was none of that.
You're not getting any of that in Houston.
Yeah.
In Houston, they will run you over with their giant lifted truck and just be like, "See ya, homie. I don't know what's up." Like,
yeah, I don't even know if I would put. I mean, I would just because of volume, but
I don't think it's in that same neighborhood.
It ain't.
I've driven in Chicago and New York, and a little bit somewhere in town. I don't remember where I was in Texas, but it wasn't that bad. Chicago, I was I was a little aggressive getting in there. New York, it was impossible. I couldn't do anything.
And it's I don't even know how you do trash pickup. Because we drove through the city to get to the rental car place drop off to shuttle. So we're kind of driving through a couple of the boroughs. Like, I don't even know how you do trash pickup in the city of Chicago because there's so many cars on the street.
Yeah.
Like, when do you get it?
Yeah. Like, how do you get to the?
There's
stuff?
just miscellaneous. It's just
all over.
It's just everywhere.
It is.
There's just no room.
So that being said, be careful down there in Houston.
It's like, it can't be
as good as OKC. Is your point?
I think at one point Jess said she was guessing in like. Did she say 17?
I heard an estimate as high as like 22.
Did she say 17? Like,
which is crazy.
You can't get that in Houston. Although the games you get Illinois, Houston, and Nebraska, Iowa.
I know.
Yes.
I mean, that is
like, that's a good day.
That's a good slate. What would you guess the biggest line to be, and who is it? There's only one double. Let
me look at the bracket.
You don't.
I gotta remember the matchups. Let me look at the bracket.
Okay.
I don't think the bracket has lines on there. No, it doesn't. Okay. So because I'm on my bracket, not the. Okay.
There's only one game that has a double-digit favorite.
Okay, so Duke St. John's won't be double digits. Purdue Texas is probably double digits.
There's only one game that has a double. I'm not you. When you tell me what game you think it is, you let me know.
It's not Illinois Houston. It's not Iowa State Tennessee. Although I bet that line's a little bigger than people think. It's not going to be Michigan Alabama. Although that one I bet is a little bigger than people think. I know Nebraska is a 2.5.
Tennessee Iowa State is not bigger than people think.
Okay.
It is much smaller than I would have thought.
No. Okay. What is that one?
4.
Okay.
Iowa State is only a 4-point favorite over Tennessee.
I meant that one should be bigger than.
Oh, okay.
Than people. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I said that poorly. Michigan State, UConn. I don't think so. I think Arizona, Arkansas is higher. I think Arizona, Arkansas is higher. I would put that at like 8.5. But if we're going
double, it is 8.5.
Is it? If we're going double digits, I think I got to go Purdue, Texas.
It is Michigan, Alabama.
Really?
Purdue, Texas is is a shorter line than Arizona, Arkansas. Arizona, Arkansas is 8.5. Purdue, Texas is 7.5.
Okay, so yeah, but they've got
Bama, Michigan is 10.5.
Really?
Yeah. You know what Michigan's team total is?
What?
92.5.
God, they really hate Alabama's defense.
Do you know the next highest?
Next highest team total has to be in Arkansas, Arizona, right?
Correct. What's it?
It's Arizona because they're favored. It's probably 10 points less than that.
87.5.
Yeah, 5 points less than that.
You're putting Michigan's team total at to win it. They need to score 93. You know they're playing Alabama.
100%. Yeah. Here's the funny thing too: is like I get Alabama's bad defensively. I get that, and they want to play a certain way in which getting to 92 is very feasible. But they're also like they're in the 60s in defensive efficiency. They're not in the hundreds.
Jeez, Nebraska's line. I just clicked refresh.
Yeah, what are we at?
It's come down a full point in 34 minutes.
Is that a 1.5 now?
It's 1.5.
So I think it opened at 3.5.
It's down to 1.5.
Did it open at 3.5?
I didn't see.
I thought immediately it was at 3.5.
What do you think the team total is?
Oh God. So the real total has to be like 130.
3.
Okay.
So that'll tell you the team total.
Yeah. So team total is what, like 67?
Yep.
And a half. Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, honestly, that might be a little high. If it gets to 67.5, Nebraska wins.
The closer to 70.
Yeah. Like if it gets to 67, I think against Nebraska specifically, Iowa needs to keep that thing pretty close to 60.
A full point.
It's down 2 points.
Just as I'm looking at it.
I think so. Here's what we saw though, right? So let me double check here because I thought immediately it opened at 3.5, but that might have been at a like an offshore or something that
look, because
that wasn't a real book. Maybe
scores and odds. Let's see, because it'll give multiple, like the booking houses.
Yeah. So DraftKings opened it up at 2.5. So that's
I see 2.5s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
all 2.5.
So that tells you Vegas thinks it's 2.5, and the public is on Iowa because they just saw them beat Florida. That's what that tells me.
So it's early. 60 or 59% right now is on Iowa. That's ATS. Money line. Still 70% of the folks of the money's on Nebraska.
That's interesting.
What do you think?
Very.
Yeah, that's backwards almost.
Huh.
Where do you think that? Which of that do you think is sharp money versus public?
So I think initially it's with this tournament. I think it's sharp money. Early.
Sharp early.
I do. Now, if you see the buyback,
yeah,
I was walking TK through this. This was phenomenal. You want to listen to? You want me to tell you how my mind works?
Yeah.
So TK yesterday, I said KU plus 3.5, lock it up. He said, "Why do you say that?" I said, "I like the movement and the percentages," and I screenshot him. He responds. He said, "Not trying to argue, just asking questions." I said, "You can do with the info what you will." I said, "Now it's like minus 106 to 108 to bet it at minus 3.5. An hour ago, it was minus 119 to bet it at 3.5. That means that the number peaked."
Yeah.
I liked KU with the percent still being on St. John's, yet the line coming back down for a reason. And that joker ended at what yesterday?
2. So you know what's funny?
And I told TK, like, because I'm just a spectator. I said, perfect outcome. I could help you out.
But I still lost.
And because I had St. John's moving on in my bracket.
Yeah. So I had a almost exact opposite conversation because I looked at that and I was like, St. John's is definitely winning this game. And I had a buddy who had him at 3.5, and he was part of the parlay, and he goes, it was like 50 to win 300, basically. It was that and another game.
Oh, gosh.
He won the first game. And he goes, after the first game, he goes, let it ride or buy it or cash it out. And the cash out was like $90 or something. So not a ton for what he was betting. And I go, I think you should write it out. He had an opportunity to cash out at $250 when St. John's is up 14. And I was like, why are you trying to win the extra 50? Cash out there. And he held on, and he's like, well, why wait? It's a free $50. And I was like, nope, it's not free $50. If you're at like 90% of your total payout, cash that thing out.
Oh, come on, take the money and run.
Like, I understand. I told him not to cash out at 90.
Yeah, right? It's done. It's like less anxiety.
That's what I'm saying, right? Because weird stuff happens. If you could cash out at like 80, 90% of your total winnings, like cash out, man. Get out of there.
Total.
Only bad things can happen from there.
Total freebie, lock it up just because I watched the sport.
Yeah.
Lay the 7.5 with Louisville today in the women's game.
Okay, there you go. Freebie, lock it up from DB.
Yep. Lock.
Put the padlock on there.
Minus the 7.5.
All right. That is the show for today. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back tomorrow. And I'm going to start teasing here a little bit. Teasing here a little bit. In the camera, we're going to have something very, very special for you as we ramp up to the Nebraska spring game. I know we haven't talked about it, and frankly, we may not very much this week with everything going on with basketball. We're going to have some very special offerings for our Hurrdat Sports Live listeners that I think is going to give you some content that you really, really want that we logistically can't provide on the show, that we're going to be able to provide in this other format. So keep an eye out for that. We'll tell you how to sign up. That
was crazy because we had like 2,200 people in the stream today at one point.
Little Hurrdat Sports Live VIP club, we'll call it for now.
There's 60 now.
Yeah, well, apparently we had a lot to say and people wanted to hear it. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back tomorrow on Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.